Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. We are ready for a long night of court. I'm warning you now. You know me, I never stop. No, there's lots to watch and we just got to bang it out. It's sort of our duty as court watchers. I hope everybody's great tonight. We're going to call this a throwback Thursday. And I'll tell you why in a minute. First, I am happy to see everybody and I see so many friends in the chat. Please go ahead and were you guys wondering what color I was going to wear? Uh, that's fun. Um, there's a story about this dress. But please go ahead. No, the house is not on fire. Quite. Um, please go ahead, cock in for your shift by hitting the like button. Then tell me what you had for dinner. If you haven't had dinner yet, or you didn't like what you had for dinner, tell me what you wish you had. Lane S, hello. Sashina, Lisa Figueroa, Mikey, hello, hello. Mayor Wrench McGnome, suspiciously. No ranch. No, I'm just joking there. I don't mean to rub it in. Hector's here. Jonathan's here. Courtney is here. Vicky's here. T-Rex is here. Daylight Disinfectant reminds you of honeydew melons. You're fine. KLF, my uncrustable partner in crime, if you will. Paul Norwood's having leftovers tonight. That's pretty good, Paul. You can go ahead and make sure you've hit the like button. That's fine. Courtney's having her usual chicken tender garden salad. Um, Sashina hasn't eaten yet today. Well, we don't food shame either. So if she didn't want to eat until today or right now, then that's fine. T-Rex, Indianapolis. Mayor, you had stale bread and water. Is that like gruel? Are you on some prison diet? No, I know the answer. I know it's unfortunate, but that sounds like a prison diet. Thank you guys again for being here. We have to get watching court because I'm not kidding you. There's a lot to watch. It's from one of our favorite judges or referees, Matthew Hagan. You had taquitos, Mikey. Did you make those at your house? That sounds like something you would get out and about here. That sounds yummy. Um, Paul, am I personally raising Uncrustables value? I need an Uncrustables deal. Can somebody get me an Uncrustables deal? Uh, Grim is here. Lisa, I think I already said hello, but if I missed you, I see you. We're gonna get watching court. Like I said, it's referee Matthew Hagan. We call him many things here. He changes in front of us. One of my favorite things to call him is Professor, what do we call him? Judge Lockhart, because he looks like Professor Lockhart from Harry Potter. And he sort of acts like it too. But the first time I ever saw him, I was really thought that he was Judge Surfer. And he has this map behind him and he sits there and it just appears that he's planning his next surf escape to me every minute. And they also assign him what seem to be some of the hardest fucked up cases. And unfortunately, we need to fucking watch them too. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Judge, or I don't think is he a judge? Can somebody fact check me? I love it when you guys fact check me. Referee hate Hagen does. That's funny. Um, Beverly's here. Hi, Beverly. Courtney sees tackies everywhere. I don't think those are the same as taquitos. Hector, he's a referee. Yeah, I mean, so am I technically. I think my soccer referee course did not have an expiration date on the license that they gave me. Actually, it probably did. Okay, RLS is here. Don't worry, you're not really late. Haven't even started court yet. This is why, again, as a teacher, I would not be a very good teacher because I'd be like, you showed up with 2 minutes to go. Thank you so much. That makes so much less difficulty for me. Loud Elvis, cocked and ready, I'm assuming. Domestic relations referee. Okay, well, I'm also gonna put that on my resume. I think most of us could. I am a domestic relations referee. Absolutely. That's a 100p going on my business card, which I'm planning right now. And I'm not going to talk. Okay. You are a teacher, Mikey. I believe that. You teach very many things. Guys, please go ahead, clock in for your shift. Hit the
Thank
like
you.
button.
And Ms. Kent?
Yes, I am Wendy Kent.
Thank you. Mr. Bishaw?
Yes, I'm Dan Bishaw.
Bishaw, thank you.
Yep.
All right. As I said, we are here for custody and parenting time modification motion. I have gone through the file, so everyone's clear. I've read the pleadings. You're welcome to give an opening statement if you'd like. I'll give you that option. We'll start with Mr. Perlman.
Yes, briefly. Okay, one moment here. Yes, thank you. So my client, again, she shares a very strong bond with her son Daniel. She offers love, affection. She provides consistent guidance, and she always ensures that he's nurtured and both emotionally and mentally. The child when in her care, understanding the importance of consistency of environment and how paramount that is. Miss Kent's home, who shares with both of her parents and her brother, offers a very wholesome, permanent family unit. It's something absent in defendant's residence, Mr. Bishaw's residence, where again he was living in at this time I believe he's living with his sister, and I'm not sure if that's on a temporary basis or not, but it's undisputed that that Mr. Bishaw was living with his girlfriend, who he and her both have extensive criminal records, and he obviously has significant issues have continuously led him down this path. There was an incident where he was driving drunk with the child in the back seat, and there was an incident, various incidents where both Mr. Bishaw and his then girlfriend or current girlfriend were both arrested at the same time, and the child was present, which led to him being incarcerated for several months, where my client had the child primarily during that time, and everything was fine. She's a very strong support system. She's a loving mother. Nowhere in the history of her parenting time, since this court has issued an order, have there been any noted issues? In terms of what's gone on during her parenting time, and there's never been anything inappropriate, or anything that would, it's been an encouraging, helpful environment to the child, and that continues to this day. My client and the child have a very strong relationship. Again, we're asking that the court modify the current parenting time schedule, awarding my client sole physical custody, whereby she be the primary custodial parent, and father can get weekends, whether it's 3 weekends a month, every other weekend, or every weekend. My
Good
client's
night.
willing to agree to that, but she offers a very wholesome household, and she'll ensure that the child has a place, his own room, and will ensure that he is attending school and that his attendance is superb, and ensure that he has a healthy, well-balanced upbringing. Again, she nothing over the last few years, even though her parenting time, obviously she wasn't the primary custodial parent. She's demonstrated all the necessary character traits that it requires to be a well-balanced, good parent. And we're just asking, we believe there's been a significant change of circumstances, and that in totality, which we'll get into, it's in the best interest of the minor child.
Thank you. Mr. Bishaw, would you like to give an opening statement? As you could tell, an opening statement is really, it's just an argument about what you think, how you think the evidence will play out. Okay. It's not, you'll have an opportunity to testify if you choose, or if Mr. Perlman calls you as a witness, but so this isn't your testimony. I'm not swearing you in or anything. But you're able to give an argument at this time if you'd like, or you could even reserve until it's time for you to present evidence. I'll leave that choice to you.
No, I'd like to say a few things. He was wrong on several things here. I was not incarcerated.
Oh, Bishaw. You guys, you're literally making me almost cry here. Oh my God, I just realized that these two people had sex. Holy. Wow. Okay. Also, what do we, oh, he's a father. I'm always, look at the judge. He looks like an animatronic version of the professor from Harry Potter.
For several months over drinking and driving with my child ever. It had nothing to do with that. And I don't have no long living girlfriend. I don't have no girlfriend living with me or nothing. And yeah, my home was fine. I had it checked out by the CPI, Protective Services, everybody else. And yep, I have a great supporting family, and we all love him and take care of him. And he buys, everybody buys it. He got everything he needs. And yeah, we have an awesome bond. And I do everything for his needs, and his love and affection, and his mental and well-being, and is everything all around.
Did he say love and infection? No, you don't want infection, sir. Oh my God. Is that a spider on his head? Oh my God. That's like you believe he has no girlfriend. I might believe that too.
Thank you. Mr. Perlman, your first witness.
Okay. If I may call, is my client's mother still in the waiting room?
Yes. But I don't know if she's connected her audio yet.
Why is it so hard to connect to audio on Zoom? Has anybody looked into that?
And if not, I could call Philip Allison if he's in the waiting room.
Yes. And while I'm here, Ms. Kent, can you tell me how to spell her last name?
It's Kowalske. Kowalski.
Thank you.
And I can take my phone to her and walk away if need to be.
Ms. Kowalski, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me? 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 Okay. Can you
You
Ms. Kent, I don't have a problem if you go stand by
Okay.
her, just, you can't,
Okay. Yep,
I
I
don't
can
want,
walk away.
well, you can hear the proceedings. What I'm trying to avoid, okay, is for you
Yes.
telling her what to say.
Yeah,
or
okay.
Any discussions, I don't want her to look to you
Here,
to,
Mom. What? I can't hear or tell you anything, so, and since you can't get your
Here.
audio. Okay. Hi.
you can hear Ms. Kent. I don't want you to think that
Oh, you
Let-
can hear. You just
Let me-
can't say stuff.
referee, I can work that out with them. We'll just call, if you don't mind, I'm sorry. We can just call Philip first and then we can come back to this once they work
Oh,
out.
sure, that's up to you, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to do that. It'll
All
be
right.
simpler.
That's fine with me. I just want it to be clear that your client can listen.
I know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So, your next witness being Mr. Allison.
Yes.
All right.
And Mike, she didn't drop out. Okay.
Oh my God, this is the first 10 minutes of this docket, you guys.
I gotta go back out front, Mom. Hey, Jeff.
Yes, hold tight.
Are
We're just
we-
gonna have Phil's gonna
Okay.
testify. So just stand still or get to a place where you can
Yep.
stand still.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, Phil.
He hasn't connected his audio yet.
Okay, good. He's
I'll let me just give me a second. Sometimes it's better here. I'll put everybody in the waiting room. Sometimes people can't see unless you're the one talking. Just give me a second. We're staying on the record. I'm moving Mr. Perlman, Mr. Bishaw, and Ms. Kent to the waiting room. I'm just going to get this person's sound going. You hear me?
Somebody went to college. Somebody framed something. Oh my God. Hopefully, well, we'll just see before I give any praise.
All right. So we are back on the record on case number 198216 DC. I believe that we have solved the issue with some of the witnesses. Ms. Kent is in the same Zoom box as the next witness. Mr. Perlman is Mr. Allison, correct?
correct.
All right. So they're sharing the phone, which is not a problem, just as long as Ms. Kent knows, and I've explained this, not to talk to the witnesses. And then Ms. Kowalski likely will be using the phone in this manner, but we'll just swap out Mr. Allison.
Right.
Okay. So, Mr. Allison, if you'd raise your right hand, please. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All the truth. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All
Mr.
the
Perlman.
truth. All of the truth.
Yes. Sir, state your name for the record.
Philip J. Allison.
Okay, and Miss Wendy Kent, who's standing behind you today. How do you know Miss Kent from working with her? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it's my understanding that you've known each other for about 2.5, 3 years.
Yes, sir. 2.5
Okay.
years now.
Okay, all right, and what is your relationship to the family?
To the family, I'm very good friends with the family, I guess. Her brothers, her mother, father.
Okay,
I've
Okay.
been with them on a basis where I can see them all interact together.
Okay. I didn't think I would have to put warnings on this early. I don't know what he's talking about. Okay. We're husbands. The whole family you're on. Oh my God, you guys. Oh. Why does everyone sound freaking drunk? It's not me.
Okay. And have you
Over
had
the
a
two and
chan-
a half years.
okay, and have you had a chance to meet Daniel, the minor child?
Yes,
Okay. And have you had a chance to see my client interact with him?
yes, of course.
Okay. And how would you describe, in general, how would you describe Miss Kent as a mother?
In general, a loving, caring, giving, attentive, a normal mother. I'm a father of two, so I can give that kind of judgment. She is a very good mom. She's uh, on every need that he needs, or everything that needs to be done as a mother interacting with her son is normal. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't go that far, but I
Oh, no way. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because we were really thinking you were. Like this was definitely a professional opinion. Like, I'm not a psychiatrist. Like, no shit, dude. No fucking shit.
I'm just saying that it's a lot better than my ex-wife was with my own two daughters. I wish she was the mother to my two daughters
And
as
how,
opposed to my ex-wife.
Oh my god, the fucking tea! Okay, we have to go back and listen to this. So they've known each other for 2.5 years. 2.5 years? Okay, okay, great. 2.5 years, and you just threw your fucking ex-wife, the mother of two of your children, that old whore wife of mine. Oh my god. Wow. Maybe she sucks a good dick with her meth mouth.
I'm a father of two, so I can give that kind of judgment. She is a very good mom. She's uh, on every need that he needs, or everything that needs to be done as a mother interacting with her son is normal. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't go that far, but I'm just saying that it's a lot better than my ex-wife was with my own two daughters. I wish she was the mother to my two daughters
and
as
how,
opposed to my ex-wife.
okay, and have you observed the child, is the child also affectionate towards her?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. He doesn't want to be away from his mom at
okay,
all. When they're together, they're together.
okay. And and how old is the child approximately? I know you're not,
5 years.
okay,
He just turned 5 just last month.
okay. And have you, so are there any examples? I mean, in terms of you were around, especially with the last few months when Daniel was living with Miss Kent, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and did you um, again, you kind of describe their interaction. Did she seem to create necessary boundaries in terms of bedtimes or
Yes. She made a structured environment here, and she has great backup. Her mom is there, her dad, and her brothers are always in and out here. So they have Daniel has his cousins to play with and interact with, all different ages. Um, each one of her brothers are parents themselves, and Wendy is, I mean, she's fantastic. I have not witnessed anything uh, out of the ordinary, and I mean this. I'm swearing under testimony right now that would suggest that she has.
So that's not what you're doing. He's messed up the words a little bit. He like emphatically says them, but they're wrong. You're swearing under oath, which you sort of mucked up already. And then it is your testimony. It's very odd that she's like crouched behind him. Like, ugh, it's just a horrible. It's like when you're a kid and you're on the phone with a relative that you have to speak with for a certain number of minutes. and your family is like, you must speak. And I'm like, I really don't want to. They're like, you must. And then they stand over you like that to make sure that you don't stop speaking. But back in my day, it was just talking on the phone. Now they got you on video too. So the creepiness, she should be on the other end of the camera, but the judge wouldn't let her do that. Anyways, let's keep watching. This is like fucking nuts. If you're just getting here, please hawk in for your shift by hitting that like button. It's very helpful for the channel. We are on our way to more subscribers. Let's put it that way.
Any issues to deal with any problem, she can handle it, is what I'm trying to say. She always was attentive and anything, boy fell down, scraped his knee or, whatever, playing, there was never an issue.
Right.
She's a very good parent, in my
And
opinion. That's
okay.
just my opinion.
Okay. Well, that's why you're here. So, and what you've observed,
She's very, very structured too, as far as trying to be on time, bringing the boy back. You get late here and there, but as far as picking up Daniel from Dan or Matt or Candy, she's, she tries to work with them. Not tries, she does work with them.
okay.
So,
In terms
which
of,
is all part of this.
okay. And I think when we spoke the other day, you mentioned that, the family in general is very Christian oriented. They go to church.
Yes. Go to
Okay.
church. The whole Kent family is a good structured unit, I have to say. I
Okay.
mean, they all care about one another. They're all here for each other's birthdays. One just moved away. Aaron just moved away. He's out west now. He's in the Air Force or Army.
That's exactly what
You
I
can't say
not to
anything
do,
when you,
Ms. Kent.
I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Okay. Yep. Sorry about that, Your Honor. But
Not your fault, sir, but Ms.
yes, sir.
Kent,
thank you. Have you, so in terms of the day-to-day routine, who's responsible for, does she make the child dinner, meals, make sure
Yes.
the child's bathed? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, she had a normal like structured time for everything. I mean, there was times, like for Memorial Day weekend or whatever, that, you could stay up a little bit later. Family was all together. But yes, bedtime, breakfast, lunch, dinner, all that was set up between certain points of time. And sometimes in our lives, you understand we can't be exactly 12 o'clock noon for lunch or something like that. But yes, everything was very much structured. And really, she did it on her own. I mean, her mom didn't have to intercede, or Wendy doesn't need to be watched or have someone look over her shoulder to be a mom. She's a great mom. And I'm not saying that because I like her and I've known her for 2 years, and her work ethic and all that is just fabulous. I mean, spectacular.
I've literally known some of you longer than 2 years. Seriously. Like, uh, this is so weird. This is, impassioned testimony from this guy. What did she do for you, buddy? Anyways, um, bottom guy obviously is mad too because it's obvious that Buddy is fucking Miss Kent, right? She's obviously twerking it, working it. So looking over her shoulder like she's mine now. Exactly, though. That's like, it's not an age gap that bothers me. It's like the obvious, like 2 years is not enough to tell me that you know somebody's family, you know them perfectly. It's just, that's not really. Also, he's giving those qualifiers at little times that we don't need. Anyways. I do like the purple flowers.
I'm saying that from being a father myself. I have a 27-year-old and a 25-year-old and two daughters I raised. And she is really, really a good mother. You know, the structuring of bath time, bedtime, uh, laundry, just the whole routine. She has it down. I mean, it's not like she has to have anyone in her ear telling her what to do, how to act. It's just
Okay.
a natural thing with her.
And I guess you have any experience with her or with observing her, or do you believe that these traits would transfer to ensuring that encouraging and influencing the child's attendance in school and
Yes.
okay,
She had reading times with him, even during the months because he has trouble saying certain words in that. And she would read, have him read. She would break down words into syllables for him. As far as being able to be up in time to have the boy to school, if that's what you're asking, or pick him up, yeah, there would not be an issue at all with that. In my personal opinion of what I witnessed.
okay.
Let's put it this way. I have a 7-year-old granddaughter and I would leave Wendy with her all day, all night and not have to worry, at all.
Have you witnessed any substance abuse pertaining to Wendy or in her home?
Absolutely not. This whole family is anti-drug. I don't know what was before while she was, prior to me knowing her, but since I've been with her and I got her into her career now as an operating engineer, I was the one that facilitated that because I believed in her. First off, how I met her was through work and work ethic. Okay. And I would have never got her into the operating engineers union had she been any type of substance abuse. I never witnessed that. I never seen it. I know what to look for. I've had my friends that I grew up with, okay, and I grew up in Detroit, ask me, please, Phil, get me in. I wouldn't. She's the first and only person I put my name behind to put forth to the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 324 Detroit. I backed her because I believed in her. There is no substance abuse that I've witnessed or seen since I've known her.
And you were you correct in your analysis of her work ethic? Does she have a strong work ethic?
Extremely strong.
Okay.
It's pretty strenuous.
It's incredible, Your Honor. She will fuck all night long. Almost like she's on some sort of amphetamine or something, allegedly.
Being what we do, it's a 6-day a week, 10 hours a day minimum. And, we run heavy machinery. We build pipelines, maintain them. And that's what I got her into, was the pipeline aspect of the unionized operating engineers.
And it's my understanding that you're in your profession, just probably because you're dealing with given you what you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, there's regular drug testing.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, it's right from the get, and then it's random, and it could be once a week. It could be, you don't know when they're coming, but they'll come and they'll pull 4 or 5 people off a crew and be like, "Okay, you guys, time to test."
Okay.
And it has to be that way out there.
Okay, and why is that?
Because we're running heavy machinery and we're building pipelines across the vast areas, and some people out there have a tendency, since they legalized marijuana here, they think that it's okay to do that. You cannot run heavy machinery on any type of substance out there. You got to be clear. You have to be focused. I've been in this union for 23 years, and it's even me. I know it's part of my job. They're going to come and test. Okay. They test even for now some kind of synthetic urine or something like this. Now people have been trying to use, and they got away with it for a while, and now that can even be detected. And Wendy is, since I've been working with her, has never tested positive, and I haven't either in 23 years of being with
Okay.
the union.
And these are frequent tests? Like,
Pretty frequent. I mean, you don't know. It's not a for sure thing that you might even be tested. You might go a whole project, not get tested. But more than likely, you're going to be, if it's a 6 month to 7 month project, you're going to be tested once on a random, you know. And if we don't want it to happen, if there's something where you bump into something, like if I'm running my tractor or my side boom and I back into a vehicle or something like that, you're instantly tested. And thank God I haven't had anything like that happen.
okay, and have you ever witnessed any violence from Wendy?
No, none at all.
Okay,
She's the
and
most caring, loving, giving person that one of the most caring, loving, giving people I've ever met.
okay,
Give you the shirt off her back, you know, if she had one underneath,
okay.
so to say.
And despite perhaps their differences, does Wendy, I mean, does she still encourages, or I should say, she doesn't criticize Mr. Bishaw in front of the child?
Never.
Okay,
That's something that I've never witnessed. I can't, you know, as far as me being around and her saying something bad about Daniel's father, no, not in front of the boy,
okay,
ever. She doesn't even bring that up. When she's with him, she just is in you know, in the mom zone, I guess.
okay. And
Hold on. Am I in the mom zone? What's going on? I, this is insane. Yeah, she's been rode hard and put away wet. That's what it sounds like. Sir, I think you're into mommy. For the mom zone? What a weird thing to say. Have you heard that before?
and is there anything else that you'd like to express as to your observations regarding her ability
I
to?
want to say that no one put me up to this except me. I just wanted to say the things I have said because these are the things I've witnessed. I had an ex-wife. I know this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it does, because I had an ex-wife that when I went through my divorce, just handed me my children and was like, she just didn't want to be a mom no more. Wendy wants to be a mom, and it hurts her that she can't just be a normal mom, to where she can sleep with her boy or, you know, be in the same house overnight. I don't know what happened 4.5 years ago. I was not around, so I can't speculate on any of that. But I'm saying for right now, while I've known her, she wants to be with her kid, with Daniel. I'm sorry, she wants to be with Daniel every moment of every day. If they could split it up and get things done to where, you know, like normal divorced or separated people are, that's the way I could see her flourishing. And the boy would be happy too. He's always happy to be with his mom. He can't wait to, you know, get here and see grandma and grandpa and play and have a good time, you know, be a young boy, a young man.
Okay,
You know.
and he's also around other his cousins when he's there?
Well, when they come around, yes.
Okay.
Because, you know, everyone's got, you know, Brian's got all her brothers, all 4 of her brothers have children, and they all love Daniel, you know, so
Okay. Do you have
they're sad when he can't come over for Christmas, you know, because whatever the reasons are, I'm not going to get into, or a holiday that, you know, they're supposed to split up, and for whatever reason there's, you know, no call, no show, and it kills her. Mother's Day killed her this year again.
Yeah.
You know, couldn't see her son on Mother's Day, You know, everyone's saying they're working together. I don't know. You know, I'm not going to get in the middle
Do
of
you
all
think,
that. I
do you-
just know how she's affected when she cannot see her son, especially on Mother's Day.
do you,
You know, I never did that to my ex-wife. I couldn't do that.
okay, do you think Ms. Kent possesses the tools to work together in a cordial co-parenting arrangement?
I think she can. I mean, yes. To answer that simply, yes.
Okay, very
Yes,
good.
without elaborating.
Okay, I have no further questions for you at this point. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Bishaw, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, as a matter of fact, your testimony wouldn't have anything to do with you and Wendy being a couple or anything like that, no, correct?
I don't understand the question, Dan. I mean, you know, we're together, so,
Yeah.
right? So it's not what are you trying to say? Like it's biased or
No, I just,
it's not a non-biased opinion? I'm just.
Well,
was
sir,
asked
Mr. Allison, you're not asking questions he's asking that because you introduced yourself as a coworker. You never said anything about dating relationship. So it's fair for
Yes,
him.
we're friends, very good friends, Your Honor.
So it's okay for him to ask that. And then, sir, you
Yes.
just answer questions as asked. Mr. Bishaw
Okay.
is asking.
Sure, go ahead, Dan. Fire
well,
away.
I just wondered that because, you know, I know you guys been together for, you know, a couple years, whatnot. And because that one time there in East Jordan at McDonald's, when your wife or ex-wife down there in the altercation.
I don't have a wife. I'm not married, Dan.
Well, okay, your ex-wife, and
She's not an ex-wife.
Mr. Allison,
Okay.
Just wait for the
you have to
question.
wait to answer the questions. It's not time for you to argue with Mr. Bishaw.
Okay.
You just sit there, listen to the question and answer it.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
So it's a pretty simple process. You just listen, answer, he'll ask, and then you're all set. Okay?
Sorry about that, Dan. Go ahead.
I just wondered that because, you know, that little altercation that happened over at East Jordan with, I don't know if she's your girlfriend at the time, whatever, and you
Yeah.
still supposed to be out of state, and here you're over there bringing Wendy to get to pick the boy
No,
and
I'm
stuff.
sorry, I would object to the narrative portion of the statement. It's not really a question. It's kind of,
I think he's trying to get to it. I understand what you're saying, but
I know.
Mr. Bishaw, so what the objection is, and I agree, is you ask questions and then the witness answers. So if you're wanting to make statements, that will come later if you choose, or if Mr. Perlman calls you as a witness.
Okay.
So it's just the simplest way to say it is it's question and answers, and that's it. You ask questions, he has to answer, and we don't.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Yep. I guess that was just my question. You know, that your testimony had any weight bearing on you guys being a couple, and that's all I guess.
And he's asked and answered.
He didn't answer that. He argued about why he needs to answer the question.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir. Dan, I see Mr. Perlman, not Dan right now. To answer your question, we are coworkers, good friends. Yes, sir. Okay. And we were driving back from Minnesota. If you remember, Dan, 14 hours, we would come together rather than her drive by herself. We were working on that project up there in northern.
Oh, is that what they call it these days? Coming together? Oh my God. He just needs to say it. Sir. Oh my God.
Minnesota, Enbridge Line 3. And yes, we did come back together. And we'd ride together all the way back 14 hours to see Daniel. And yes, Monica did show up. But again, as I explained with Monica, she knew we were working together. It was nothing unknown to her, sir. But she just thought something else was going on at that time. I don't see Dan. I see Jeff.
Okay.
Not that I don't mind looking. I don't mind looking at you.
If you're on a phone, you may need to swipe it over because you're likely only seeing the person talking. Because now you can probably see me.
Oh, I see everyone now. Okay,
Yeah,
good. All right, good deal. All right, I don't know how to do this. I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem. Mr. Bishaw, do you have any further questions for this witness?
No, I mean, honestly, I don't really know the guy. He said he would bring Wendy every time for a visit to pick him up and stuff like that.
Yeah. Any further questions?
No.
Any redirect, Mr. Perlman?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Allison. You're all set.
Thank you,
And
Dan.
then, so if I can
Jeff.
explain a little bit, you're welcome to listen to the proceedings at this time, but you're not able to tell Ms. Kim what to say, okay?
Oh,
So I'm not, but I want to be clear because I know we're having some logistical issues. We're using her phone for everybody. I just
Right.
want to make it clear that for you, you've testified. You can listen to whatever you want, okay? But you can't be talking to Ms. Kent while she's listening to the proceedings. That's all, okay? All right.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. There's just no, yeah, all right, we got it. So, Mr. Perlman, your next witness, please.
Yes, Ms. Ken, if we'd like to call your mother, if you could bring your phone to her.
Yep, 1 second. Yeah, I find her.
Is that okay?
Yeah, what I was gonna say, once we get settled here.
Here
I'll
she
just-
is.
I'll wait on that.
All right, Mom.
Hi,
Hi there.
1 second, please. And so, this is Ms. Kowalski, please, correct?
correct.
All right. I'll swear you in just 1 second. The issue I was going to cover is, okay, Mr. Allison hung up his phone. What I'm going to do is remove, I don't want people to have to sit there with their phones on while they're using your phone. So I'm going to remove her from there and we're good. Okay, so ma'am, Ms. Kowalski, if you would raise your right hand, please. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
And please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Marie Lorraine Kowalski, Kowalske.
Mr. Perlman.
Okay. If I may. Yes, yes, ma'am. Hello. Again, say your name for the record, please.
Marie Lorraine Kowalski.
Okay, and Ms. Kolsky, what is your relationship to Wendy Kent?
I'm her mother.
Okay, and what is so you're the grandmother of Daniel?
Correct.
Okay, and it's my understanding that Wendy currently lives with you, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and you also live with your husband?
yes,
Is that correct? Okay. And have you had an opportunity to see Wendy parent her child?
yes.
Okay, and how would you describe Wendy as a mother?
She is an excellent mother. She has really grown a lot from the past and she's doing so much better. She's, like I said, an excellent mom. She's considerate about her son's needs, his wants. She's really good with him.
Okay. Have you again over the last couple years, you've had a chance to be a part of and witnessed much of their time together. Is that fair to
Yes.
say?
Yes,
Okay. And have you ever witnessed anything inappropriate on behalf of Wendy with the child?
never,
Okay. And
not at any time.
okay. And how would you describe your household in general? Is it a pretty how would you describe your household, I guess?
Pretty loving, caring, really good.
Okay. is, I understand that, you know, every family has their arguments and issues, but does everyone pretty much live in, you know, harmony there and get along well?
Yes,
Okay. And what is your, how is your relationship with the child?
it's really good. He's an
Okay.
excellent grandson.
Okay. And what to, go ahead.
And he loves his mom to pieces. He won't let her go when he's around her.
Okay. Do you think that Wendy needs your supervision or anyone's supervision in parenting her son?
No, not
Okay.
at all.
And why do you say that?
Because she doesn't.
Okay.
She's grown a lot since the past, and she's a great mom, and she has integrity, and she's really good with them.
Okay. And how many children do you have?
I have 5.
Okay.
I have 7, counting my husband's other 2 children, but I have 5.
Okay. And do the other siblings live in the area?
Yes,
Okay. So do you are there often gatherings at your home and
yes.
okay. And how does the child get along with his extended family? Well, you have 4 sons?
Yes.
So how
And
does
he loves his uncles unconditionally. He likes to play with them, and he goes and plays with everybody. He
and
takes his turns with all of us.
how does Wendy get along with her brothers?
Excellent.
They're close-knit family?
Yes,
Okay.
very close. Yep.
You did something right, man.
What? Thank you.
And is there any violence in your household that or is it, I mean, have you witnessed, I mean, I guess any violence in your household, or again, is it
No,
okay? Okay. And in terms of just on a day-to-day, what have you observed in terms of her, Ms. Kent's diligence, her ability to you know, properly you know, guide the child, to make sure that he has food, to make sure that he's bathed, to make sure his medical needs are met, to make sure that he's, you know, disciplined if necessary. What have you observed in terms of those factors?
she's did all of those all the time with the food and the discipline.
Okay.
He listens really well.
Okay. Does she have to yell at him, or is she?
Never. Nope. She doesn't have to yell at him.
Okay. Okay. And in terms of currently, have you do you have any reason to believe that your daughter has any substance abuse issues or anything to that effect at this time?
No, none. None
Okay.
whatsoever.
Okay. Is there anything that you feel is at all inhibiting her ability to parent?
I didn't understand that. What was you saying?
Is there anything that you feel that she lacks as a parent that that you're concerned about?
No. Nope. I have no concerns.
Okay.
She doesn't lack anything.
Okay. Do you know Mr. Bishaw?
Yes.
Okay. And are you you're familiar with the situation where again the child was staying with you for a consecutive period of time because Mr. Bishaw was in jail?
Right.
Okay. And what, I guess, what have been, in terms of the parties' willingness to co-parent, what have been your observations of Mr. Bishaw?
To co-parent,
Yes.
he doesn't always follow through with agreements. He
Okay.
doesn't want her to have overnights. He's never let her have that opportunity to have overnights.
Okay. And
He-
do you feel are you concerned about the environment that the child's in when in Mr. Bishaw's care?
Yes,
And why is that?
because of drugs and drinking and for being in jail.
Okay. And use drugs and drinking, is that just pertaining to Mr. Bishaw or people he's living with, or what is your understanding? If you don't know, you don't know.
I'm not sure on all that, but
Okay.
I do know it's not good. When my
Okay.
daughter was there, it wasn't good.
Okay. And do you have is there anything else that you would like to tell the court in terms of why you think, well, I guess what do you think would be the best interest of the minor child? What do you think would be in terms of the parenting time arrangement?
I guess,
I guess I don't mean to interrupt you, but do you feel that the child should live with mother primarily? What are your thoughts on that?
yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. And why is that?
For the nurturing of a mother.
Okay. And do you have any reason to concerns about the child being able to make it to and from school when in Miss Kent's care?
No,
Okay. And will do you believe that Miss Kent and then of course if you're living there as well, will make the necessary efforts to ensure that he's staying on top of his schoolwork?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Is that a priority for you and your family?
Yes,
Okay. Very good. And the child has his own space and a place to stay when he's with Miss Kent?
yes,
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am.
you're welcome.
Okay, if there's is there anything else you wanted to tell the court?
I can't think of anything right off.
Okay, well, thank you. You've been very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before I turn it over to Mr. Bishaw, I have a couple questions for you, ma'am. Does Ms. Kent live with you?
Yes,
How long has she lived with you?
she's lived with us for about 5 years now.
Okay. And you mentioned that the minor stayed with you and Ms. Kent in that home. Was that recently?
Yes.
And well, okay, I didn't ask.
Is that what you're asking me?
Yes, it is. And I should be more specific based on Mr. Perlman's question. This was during a time when you said that Mr. Bishaw was incarcerated?
Correct.
Okay, so during this time, do you know approximately how long that parenting time, let's call it a block, was?
I'm misunderstanding what you're trying to ask me. When she had him,
Okay, let me say it this way. Are you familiar with the current court order?
I'm not sure.
Okay, do you know whether Ms. Kent is a court has permitted her to have overnights at this time?
No, they didn't.
Right.
From the past, no.
Understood. But during this time, what I'm trying to get at is during the time that Mr. Bishaw was incarcerated, can you tell me when that was? Meaning what month? You don't have to be exact on dates, but how long ago from today was that?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was in May.
Okay, sure. Yeah, and again, I'm not. Do you know about how long that period was where the minor stayed with you? That's what I was calling the block. I'm trying to figure out.
May 25th to when Candy said she had to come and get him.
So I'm a little familiar with these parties. We just had a hearing last week, actually. Was it about in July when that block of parenting time ended, ma'am?
I think so.
Okay. I know this is a sort of a long road to get to, but all I was really wondering is during that time, the minor was spending overnights with Ms. Kent. Is that correct?
Correct.
In
And
your
he
home?
loved it. He loved it here. Yes.
And can you describe how the overnights went? What your role was, what Ms. Kent's role was during this time, how the child behaved?
He behaved really well all the time he was here. He enjoyed himself. He played. He had fun. We worked with him on school stuff. He said goodnight to us when it was time for bed. Woke up happy every time. Never asked about his dad once. So he had fun here. He loves it here.
And what was your role in the parenting during the overnights?
What was my role?
Yeah, did you have one or zero? That's still a role. I'm just looking for how this played out.
I was here with her when he had him. Is that what you're asking me?
Okay, so if the court decides to change custody and grant Ms. Kent overnights, you'd still be in the home, correct?
Correct.
But you mentioned that Ms. Kent doesn't need any supervising. Is that correct?
No, she doesn't.
And
Yes.
so what I was trying to get at, maybe I'm being more confusing than I thought, but during the overnights, were you supervising Ms. Kent with the minor during this May through July?
I was watching her, yes, and I don't believe she needs help with anything.
Okay, so you don't feel like it was necessary for you to have to intervene or supervise her during that parenting time?
No.
That's really what I was getting at. Okay.
Okay.
So, thank you. Mr. Bishaw, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, as a matter of fact, when she would like bathe and stuff, was there any special things that she would do that out of the ordinary that me or you wouldn't do?
No.
Are you aware that he had tubes in his ears and it's a must? He has to have earplugs in his ears to ever go underwater or anything like that?
Yes, we're aware of that because the doctor told us that when we had him in the office, and you never told us. But yeah, I'm aware of that.
I told one of you many times when you had to go swim or even a shower, make sure you had earplugs. They even offered some. And just like with food and everything else, with mouth situation, with different foods and just everything. But and as far as yeah, you stated me drinking with my son or doing drugs, that has never happened. I never would do that.
It has to be a question. It has to be a question, sir.
Okay.
You're going to be able to testify. You just have to ask Ms. Kowalski some questions.
Yeah, have you ever seen me drink around a boy or think I was drinking or anything like that when you guys come to pick him up or drop him off? Right?
Well, I've never seen you drink, no, but I know you have before. I've seen you drink a long time ago, yes.
Yeah, I mean, would your honest opinion, you feel like I'm a good father as well, and I do anything for his needs?
I'm not sure.
I was just wondering because you made that statement down there before, down at well, the protective service and all that. You know, I can be a good father and all that stuff. I just wonder if you remember those kind of things, and that Wendy could be a good mother, with help and some guidance and things like that. And would you as
Sir, we got to give her a chance to answer. That was a question that
okay?
she's.
Sorry.
I'm interested if she said those things, certainly. So, ma'am, you need to answer that question.
You're saying I did say when we was in the courtroom, or not the courtroom, but with the social can't say it. This social workers, I did say that at the time and that Wendy was a good mom too. There was no doubt in my mind she was a good mom. So that was over 4 years ago or 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she was a good mom.
And
It newborn at that time, but yes. What was you gonna say?
I didn't hear you, Dan.
Oh, I was just saying when you made that statement, the baby was just a newborn at that time. So I mean,
That's correct.
yeah.
I was giving you both a chance.
And was there a reason that you made her stay out in a camper at your house instead of being able to come in your home when she was asked to remove out of this home here on my sister because unsafe of being around the baby at night and things?
No, I let her stay out in the camper because she had a lot of thinking she wanted to do. You kicked her out. She had
I,
no place to go. So no.
okay, Marie, I never.
You wanted me to take her someplace to an institution place, and she does not need that. I'm sorry, but she doesn't need one.
Okay, Marie, that was not that was not for me. That was through protective service, and
No, that was from you, Dan,
Hey, so
because that's what
listen,
you told us.
listen. I don't want to have to do this with every witness, but we have to ask questions and answer questions. So, Mr. Bishaw, you ask Ms. Kowalski questions, and Ms. Kowalski, you answer the questions asked.
Okay.
okay, and the thing was is either Wendy had to leave this home or I had to turn the baby over to somebody else out of this home because they did not feel safe. And that was the deal that Wendy had to leave this home. And they're the ones that made her go and get the psychological evaluation done. That there's two cops that came here and took her to Solway.
I'm gonna object to the narrative. There's no question.
Understood. Mr. Bishaw, you have to ask a question. You'll be able to testify later.
All right. And as you know, didn't we have to take care of the Petoskey Hospital to have an evaluation done also?
They didn't find anything out up there, did they?
I don't know. I'd never went in the room. She's like down on the
Yeah.
wire. I don't know what she
Okay.
told her. Well, that night right there, didn't it take you an hour or so to get her up out of my basement?
No, it did.
And then she's in the bathroom another half hour or so because your husband Mark was getting really upset sitting out in the car that long because she's in the bathroom running water before we went there.
I don't remember all that, Dan.
Do you remember the incident down in McDonald's you guys there when you chased the boy around and he split his eyeball open?
Yes, I do. He was playing, and a typical kid's gonna.
What? We call that a trigger warning. Eye shit. What the fuck? My God. Okay, let's keep listening.
Probably hit a table or two with their head. It wasn't done on purpose.
No, I wouldn't say it was. I just wanted.
And she took care of him.
And she took care of what, the cut?
Yes,
Well, yeah, with a piece of paper towel from the McDonald's.
yes, Dan.
Yeah, because they said he could have had a couple stitches there if it got caught in time. But
No, he didn't need stitches.
well, that's what they told me. But
No, he did not need stitches. I'm sorry.
okay, well, I'm not a doctor or nothing either, but I was told that he could have used a few stitches in that.
Another shocker. The first guy wasn't a psychiatrist. This guy's not a doctor. You fucking not kidding, huh? Seriously? My God. Donor Jason Waterfall.
That cut there.
No. No.
And you said that you think Wendy's a normal, loving mother.
Yes, she is. Truly is.
Hmm. But, and you think she automatically has mother instincts and stuff like that since she had the baby and all that?
What was that question, Dan?
You think that she had normal mother instincts after she gave birth to the baby?
Yes.
Do you remember that they did not want to? The baby could not be in the room if I wasn't up there at the hospital because she showed no interest in the baby. Didn't want to hold it or nothing or feed it
That's because she was tired out from giving birth.
for several days.
Everybody's different. Everybody's body's different. It takes a while to heal and to get your strength back.
Do you recall coming over my house trying to get Wendy to a call to get prenatal care after we found out she was pregnant?
I'm gonna object to relevance.
Mr. Bishaw, any response? How's it relevant?
I guess I have really no more to ask her.
Did you say you don't have any more questions?
Yeah, well, actually, I do. As a matter of
Okay.
fact, no, like transporting to school and stuff. She don't have a vehicle. I mean, right now she don't have a job. She's never, to this day, has ever bought clothing or anything for her, a pair of shoes, anything, and be able to send it with him or anything like that. Or me and my family, my sisters, Matthew, everybody. I mean, he's got everything he possibly could ever ask for, anything ever needs and wants. He goes like camping trips. I mean, he got anything to get. But yeah, she's never.
I'd object to the narrative. I mean, I was opportunity to
At
testify.
first, sir, so at first I thought you were asking a question about school. So if you want to ask a question, you just ask the question. Is it, how can I help here? Because I keep saying the same thing, but maybe it's not helpful. So if you could just ask the witness questions instead of making long statements that it sounds like what you're trying to do is make statements, right? To have something for the court to listen to as a fact. But right now you're just asking questions of this witness. You'll be able to state what you believe are facts later.
Okay.
Okay, so if you could just ask questions, then Ms. Kowalski will answer them, okay?
Yep. If he was there, how would he get back and forth to school, Marie?
He would get back and forth to school either on a bus or I will drive him back and forth to school or let Wendy drive him back and forth to school.
And did that be, I mean, you'd be fine with that happening every day throughout the winter during the over school, as you stated?
You'll have to repeat your answer. It's somehow the phone was muted. So, ma'am, I think I saw you talking, but we couldn't hear you.
What was the question again?
I was just wondering how he was gonna get back and forth to school, because Wendy said that she wanted to keep him at over school.
He would get back and forth to school either by the bus or by a vehicle with me or Wendy.
Well, I was wondering if there's an emergency relative when you're working and everything. I'm just concerned about things like that, I guess.
Well, I'm pretty sure Wendy would be taking care of it if something happened. Call 911 or whatever we have to do.
Uh,
And I'm sure you guys would do the same thing. So,
well, absolutely. Whatever was needed to be taken care of.
same here.
And without her working or anything, how would she be able to afford clothing and things like that, and his needs that he would need, throughout the school year?
She can afford them.
That she can afford them. She's not working right now, correct?
She can afford them, Dan.
Okay.
That wasn't the question. I need to know the answer to that, ma'am.
I would get them for him if he needs it.
Is she employed right now or not, was the question.
Right now, she's not employed right this second, no. But as Dan,
Go ahead, Mr. Bishaw.
Yes, I have income. I'm not employed yet.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You can,
Oh.
I'm not answering questions from witnesses either. It's not her opportunity to do that. She just answers questions that you ask. Would you please ask some more questions, Mr. Bishaw, if you have them? I just have to keep directing everyone to do the simple instructions, like ask questions, answer questions. So I'm trying to do my best.
Yeah, I guess I have no further questions for Marie.
Where's your home located, Ms. Kowalski?
my home's located on Lewis Road, just off in Finkton, in between East Jordan and Central Lake, right on the borderline for East Jordan.
Sure, thank you. And you don't have to give me your exact address. I don't want to put that online. I'm just wondering, and how far away from Mr. Bishaw's home are you?
It's,
Approximately.
what's that?
Approximately how far away is where you live from where Mr. Bishaw lives?
I can't, I think it's about 10 miles.
In other words, these parties live close. Is that your understanding?
What was that?
These parties live pretty close to each other. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Perlman, any redirect?
Just very briefly, ma'am, it was asked about comments you'd made to a social worker previously, years ago. Currently, do you have concerns about Mr. Bishaw being a good father?
Yes, I do.
And what are those concerns?
Concerns of being arrested and watching his son watch him being arrested, for one. Just stuff like that.
Well, okay, and what, well, I guess if you could elaborate a little bit, now's the time.
For drugs and drinking, just partying all the time.
Okay. Okay, and,
And, um,
And that is hearsay.
Hold on.
okay, and you believe that affects his ability to parent?
yes.
Okay. Um, okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Just how do you know he's partying all the time? I thought you said he didn't. You haven't seen him drink around the child.
Because when my daughter lived there, I know they partied a lot.
Okay,
He partied a lot.
and she's lived. Mr. Proman asked you your current concerns. Has your daughter lived with Mr. Bishaw currently or recently?
No.
Okay.
She does not live with him. She lives here with me.
All right, Mr. Bishaw, do you have any final questions for this witness? And they have to be based on the questions that I've asked or the questions that Mr. Perlman just asked.
Yes, wait, was you there every day, when Wendy had the boy for that 2 months, Marie? Could you hear me?
I said yes.
So you didn't have to work for that whole 2 months that she had him, that you took him from the school?
I stayed here with her, yes, until I found out you didn't have rights. So I didn't think I'd have to stay with her. Cause I have to work too, you know.
Well, yeah, I was wondering because right in the court order, that's what it states.
She wasn't here by herself at all.
Yeah, but
She
you
only
were the
had
one,
somebody here.
you were the one that's being appointed by the court as a supervisor. Because your husband, I mean, he barely take care of himself, correct? But he's got medical problems.
He can take care of himself. He might need help once in a while, but he can take care of himself.
Yeah, but just in the court order is made precise that you had to be the supervisor. Or that's Wendy and I agreed upon somebody else if he was not available, correct?
Yes, but you were in jail, Dan, at the time.
Okay, but that doesn't matter. I'm talking about the boy, you know, his safety and health and
His
well-being.
safety was fine.
Well, that's why you was there for the supervisors, so they could make sure that the courts.
Correct.
Okay, that's the only thing I was asking about you being at work while she had the boy.
It's not a question.
That wasn't a question. If she was at work while she had the boy.
Yeah, I took it as though you were just explaining why you asked something. So I understood. Did you have any further questions for this witness, sir?
No, I'm all set, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am.
welcome.
Yeah, if Connie says one more question, I'm sorry, just based on what Your Honor asked. Are you aware if are you aware whether or not the boy understood or that expressed an understanding that he witnessed his father getting arrested?
Yes, he did.
Okay,
And he tried.
okay, and where did he witness his father getting arrested?
At McDonald's parking lot at the drop off.
Okay. Do you know why he was arrested?
The police officer said he had a warrant against his arrest.
See, I was
Okay,
asking
fine.
how she knows these things. You're
Okay,
not
fine,
asking
okay.
the
I
same,
know-
but I'm looking for her foundation on some of these issues.
I understand.
So, I'm not interested in what the police said, or if you want to ask her how she knows, if she was present at that McDonald's, that's what I was wondering is how she knows these things.
I was present at McDonald's, yes.
During the
the-
arrest.
For the pickup and for the drop off and for the event, yes.
What was
The
the
event-
event?
Yeah, go ahead. The event being, that's what we're looking for. The event meaning the arrest, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Perlman, you can follow up in that vein then.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
when was that?
I'd have to look it up. It was in May sometime, I believe.
Okay, and do you know how the police became involved with the situation?
Yes. Because the little boy was in the front seat of the vehicle when he was being dropped off. And the law is he's not supposed to be in the front seat, I believe.
Was he in
So
was he in a child seat was in a booster
and
seat?
I don't think he was in a booster seat. And we had called the cops about it and told them. So when the drop off came, the cops were there before we got there, and they were already talking, had Dan in custody at that time and told us that we had to wait because he had a warrant out for his arrest. They were checking on it. That's
Okay.
how I know. And then he was arrested, and Daniel watched him being arrested.
And it's your understanding that he wasn't released from custody until July, from then until July?
I'm
sorry, which is it your understanding that he was in custody from that point and that date in May at McDonald's until
Yes.
he was released in July?
Yes,
Okay. All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Can I
Now,
make a comment to that?
To be fair, then any final questions, Mr. Bashaw?
Yes, on the factor, she stayed there about McDonald's. Went to the drive-through line. He wanted chocolate milk that morning, and he was in a car seat in the back of the van. And he asked, and as we was parked ordering, I let him out. He got out and he sat in the front seat.
I'm gonna object, Judge.
I'm trying to, that's why I had my hand up. You have to ask a question, sir, okay?
Well, I just stating how he got in the front seat of the van.
I'm aware that you're stating something. I've asked you not
Okay.
to do that. I'm asking you to
I'm sorry.
ask her questions. You can ask her about you can ask her about the situation. That's perfectly fine. It's just, it's not your opportunity to tell us what you think happened yet, okay?
No, okay.
All right, so you can ask her some questions.
Did you see me come down the road and the boy sitting in the front seat, or is that coming right in the parking lot of McDonald's?
Right through the parking lot at McDonald's. You never went through the drive-through. You came right through the parking lot.
Okay. Well, I did, but anyways, yes. I have no further questions.
All right, thank you. At this point, ma'am, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I guess it goes back.
All right, so we had a couple new people pop in the waiting room, so let me just let you know who it is. A Ryan Cassar Casser or something. And then I have a 734 number. I don't want to read the whole number onto the record, but I can, if you want, we'll go off the record. I can identify this person and do it that way, but we're on YouTube and I don't like people's personal information out there.
Okay, I don't, I would only, I don't believe I have any other witnesses in the waiting room.
Mr. Bashaw, were those people, are you familiar, whom you are familiar with?
No, not at all, Your Honor.
Don't worry, we're keep on going. They come back. And look at shit. It's like I was organized or something today.
All right, we are back on the record on case number 198216 DC. Just to clarify, I figured out who that person was. He was supposed to be in a hearing with the other referee. So, Mr. Perlman, your next witness, please.
Okay, I'm gonna call my client. I'm just gonna shut my door here. I hear a vacuum.
Okay. All right, ma'am, if you'd raise your right hand, please. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am, state your name for the record, please.
Wendy Marie Kent.
Okay, hello, Ms. Kent, how are you? And you are,
Good. How are you?
okay, and you are the mother. What is your son's name?
Daniel Justin Bishaw.
Okay, and in terms of you filed a motion. What are you requesting in your motion?
To get to see my son more.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, are you okay, so I'm gonna ask you a few general questions here. So how would you describe your relationship between you and your son?
Amazing.
Okay,
Unbreakable.
okay,
Loving.
okay,
We have a bond.
very good. Okay, so do you are you do you have a strong emotional relationship with your child?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and when he's in your care, do you provide for his essential needs?
Yes.
Okay, and what type of things, I guess, do you provide a stable and secure and safe environment for the child?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Who do you think between you and Mr. Bashaw can provide a more stability for the child?
I do.
Okay. And why is that?
He doesn't work. As far as I know from being with him, he's unstable.
Okay.
That's
Is it your understanding that he's moved around a significant amount in the last few months or couple of years?
what was the question again, Jeff? Sorry.
I'm sorry. So has Mr. Bashaw well, I'll strike that. I'll
Yeah.
strike that. I'll ask another question. What type of so you had your child for a approximately around 60 days over the last few months while
Correct.
Mr. Bashaw was in jail, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And were you present when Mr. Bashaw was arrested?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and what happened?
We end up being at McDonald's just before 9:30, me and my mom. And when Dan pulled up, he was late. And we seen the boy sitting in the front seat. And we were both stunned. We took video and so he handed me the boy. And as soon as I got the boy in my custody, I called the cops, explained to him what happened. And then spent the day with the boy. And then,
1 second, and then were you there when Mr. Bashaw got arrested?
yes, I was. Me and my mom were bringing the boy back. And when we got there, they had Dan in handcuffs, I believe. And then they explained to me that he had a warrant for Sheboygan. And then when they ended up taking off with Dan to go to jail, finally, Matt Bishaw was there. And Matt explained to him that he was working on his vehicle and couldn't take Dan.
Sheboygan. Is that what she said? Sheboygan? Lisa, same thing. I was like, that's a fun word. And then I tried to pause it, and then it took about fucking a minute. Guys, if you're just getting here, please clock in for your shift by hitting that like button. This is in Michigan, as far as I can tell. Although, again, Judge or Referee Hagen looks like he spends most of his days at the beach, dreaming and living the surf life, which he deserves. You know, all of us deserve that after some of the cases we've had to listen through together with him. I thank you, Sashina. Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. Also, I noticed in the chat somebody said that they were timed out. Weird. There's literally nobody moderating this. Um, I don't even have it open. That's how I'm able to make it not as glitchy, but it means I can't type in the chat. Anyways, let's go ahead. Yeah, it's a YouTube glitch. YouTube daddy with all his money just fucking doesn't fucking sort problems. I mean, nothing YouTube daddy. No, didn't say it. You're doing great. You're doing great. Let's keep watching. We'll have an F in the chat for the chat. F in the chat for the chat. F in the chat for the chat. And we'll continue watching. Yeah, that sounds about right.
And um to drop off or to pick up Daniel. And I know that's incorrect.
Okay, so,
Normally,
but
yes.
I guess, okay, but you were there, you witnessed him being arrested in your
Yes.
understanding because he had a warrant for his
Yes.
arrest. Okay, and during the time when the child was with you for that extended period of time, were you, how did you feel that you managed in terms of day-to-day parenting?
I think I did really good. He did lots of learning, he had lots of fun, had lots of time with family finally, and I think it
Okay.
went very good.
Okay, did he feel comfortable, or I guess, did you feel like there was open communication where he was able to communicate with you?
Yes, through the time I had him from May 25th to July 12th, he actually talked better than what he does now.
Okay,
You could actually understand him better. I practiced with words with him that I got from the school, and
so you
yeah,
got something to go over with to review with him over the summer
yes,
school, okay?
yep.
And do you think that was beneficial to him?
Oh yes, it definitely helps him.
Okay, and do you what
Any of those words, and I'm going to have chat go ahead, tell me the words that the school sent home for this mama to practice with her kid. What do you think the words were? Put your thoughts in the chat. What words did these teachers send home? Not being snippy at all, just, oh, I wonder if he'll ever do this. You think, oh, see, I was being mean. And I thought this is like a bit of an older kid. Not vagina, ideally. Although that's a good word. You have to teach that word to kids. I was thinking more like, what was I thinking? Read to me, like just basic shit. Like, you know, one of the worst things when I was younger was when a teacher would sort of like ridicule your lunch as if you had any fucking say in what was put in that lunch, unless you were even more unfortunate to be not only not given a good lunch, but being forced to pack your own not good lunch with not good shit at your house because you're poor or whatever. But some teachers are so mean. I don't get that. Kids can be mean enough. Back in my day, sound like an old lady. Back in my day, um, when somebody had a peanut butter allergy, they just sat in the hallway and they were like allowed to have one person sit in the hallway with them. And oh, lunch shame, a hundy p. I was personally lunch shamed for my daughter's lunches multiple times at her school. First of all, actually, that's a funny story. We'll tell that story. Um, let me just say this one on camera. Um, we were, I'm not that into politics, but I am whatever, I was into making sure that my daughter had a really good school experience. And so I was like, you know what? I was only in school like 5 years ago. Y'all can't fucking fool me. I know how school goes. Okay. And the teachers were like reluctantly admitting that, yeah, shit, she's right. She does. She understands exactly. So I just knew sort of the ways to negotiate it. Anyways, but I also live in like what I call hippy dippy USA, which is funny because it's in Canada. But so making lunches, making from scratch lunches, making organic, gluten free, fucking all that kind of shit lunches is like on point. And my daughter's school already banned all peanut butter and peanut butter products, so you couldn't do that. You can't send sandwich, no, nothing peanut butter. And I remember being like, oh fuck, because that's like, you know, we don't have Uncrustables, but that was it. Like we were good. Um, and then, but I also understood. I was like, okay, I get it. Then what happened was I was at a fucking parent, like PAC meeting. That's what they call it, Parental Advisory Committee. First of all, nobody goes to those meetings. If you want to be involved in your child's life and your school's life and get what you need for your kid, go to a PAC meeting. You're going to, first of all, people are going to be like, what are you here for? And you're like, oh, I'm a parent here. I'm here for the meeting. They're like, really? Oh my God. Somebody came, you guys. Somebody came. Because usually there's like 6 people that show up, even out of hundreds of parents every month. And so I remember I went to a PAC meeting, and then because there was this mom who was petitioning to make the school dairy free and wheat free, I drew the line. I was like, absolutely fucking not. No, that's absolutely not even fucking no. Like, just no. And then, of course, you have to rally people to vote for you in these stupid fucking votes on things like this that make a big difference. And I remember being like, oh, I'm gonna have to roast this lady really hard and like really bring her down. And I was like 26 years old, and I'm like, I already don't do peanut butter, okay? I'm not gonna not do fucking bread and fucking dairy cheese. What is there? I'm sorry to the kids that can't have it, but come on. So that did not pass. I'll tell you that. And from that point on, I actually joined the executive of the Parental Advisory Committee. Even better. So in the middle of that, this is a weird story, but I don't know how schools are in the United States, but in Canada, they are not fenced in, usually, even elementary schools. There may be a fenced area, but oftentimes it's not. Oftentimes it maybe even spans across a street. And there may be some supervisors or duty teachers, as we used to call them, duty, but it's not as supervised as you might think for hundreds of kids being given lunch or whatever. So, but none of our schools virtually will have a cafeteria. every kid will eat in their classroom for the most part. You have to pack them a lunch. There's no, like, we don't have school buses, we don't have cafeterias. So my daughter got into an argument with this kid who she shared a locker with, like a little cubby with in her class. And then this kid proceeded to like run a smear campaign against her. And he literally told his mom that he was lured off of school premises with her to go kiss by chocolate covered Oreos. And I was like, I have an email in my email, and I was like, I have to respond to this stupid shit. But luckily, I was already on the fucking executive committee, so I already had the ear of the principal. I was like, she said what? Or chocolate covered Oreos? I've never bought those in my life, which is true. I've never bought those in my life. The little fucking kid was running a smear campaign against her. And then for like a while after that, the teachers, first of all, if we have fucking 6-year-olds that are getting off school grounds to go make out and eat Oreos, we have a problem, don't we? Like, we got some issues. And then from then on, I would just like show up at school at random times. And the principal too, they're like, I've been watching, there's been no contact between the two. I'm like, that fucking Johnny over there is a fucking liar. That's the problem. It would be one thing if she was doing it. She wasn't. He was literally just being a dick to her. And Mama Bear just came right out. I was like, we never have Oreos. And we never do. It's just not something I ever buy. But that was really annoying to me as well. I had to go to school, like, basically, I would go to school. After that, I would go to school like 20 minutes early just to be there at like exchange time. Like, to be like, no, I just watched it all happen. So you're wrong, Susie. Yeah. Oh yeah, and he like made a gun, pew pew, at my like fingers at her, and I was just like, I didn't want to have to bring it up. Now I have to bring it up. Anyways, guys, we're gonna continue watching this court. This is one of the most fucked up hearings I've ever seen. Uh, Where are we leaning at this point? Does anybody have any good feelings between mom or dad yet? No Oreos. Oh, I know. So I was never allowed a Lunchable, and that's why I like eating Lunchables to this day. We should taser them both, I think.
But what time did he typically go to sleep?
About 8:39 most
Okay.
nights.
All right. And would you ensure that he went to sleep at, a reasonable time?
Correct.
Okay. And then did
We
you,
all had bedtimes.
as a child?
Yes.
Okay.
All
So-
5 of us. So.
Okay. So did you grow up in a pretty healthy household?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And did you it's my understanding that your family's Christian oriented and you guys went
Yes.
to church and whatnot?
Yep, we're all baptized. We all go to church still.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that
We all
and-
believe in God.
great. Okay. And is that something that you want for your son?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And do you share I guess do you educate him when he's around and
Yes, I read to him. We practice with letters and numbers when he's here. He loves the color.
okay. Did you feel, was it overwhelming? I mean,
No, not one bit. I couldn't have enough of it.
okay. And then and how old are you, ma'am?
I am 38.
Okay. And you're one of 5 children?
Yes, correct.
Okay, where do you fall?
With two half brothers and sisters.
Okay, so where do you fall in that mix? Are you?
I'm in the middle. I'm the second youngest from the five, and I'm in the middle between.
She's 3 years older than me. My goodness. Hold on. That's unfortunate. How many kids does she have? I only have one kid. Jesus. Thank you guys for continuing to hang out with me, by the way. We have quite a bit of court left, plus a little bit of fun left that we still have to have. So make sure you've cocked in for your shift. Get a snack, a drink. Let's keep going. That's a rough 38, right?
Between the seven.
Okay, all right. So
I got three younger brothers and two older, and a half sister that's older.
okay. And so did you grow up kind of watching your younger brother and
Oh yeah, I was the big sister, the babysitter.
okay. All right.
Yep.
And
When my mom was gone at work, so.
okay. And have you when I guess do you feel overwhelmed, I guess, when kids
Never.
that age have a tendency to, get out of line and misbehave at times and get wild?
No.
How do you respond to that?
I normally just try to calm him down if he is ever, out of control, but he never gets that way, really, ever. So he's
Okay.
never been in trouble. If he was, I'd stand him up in a corner,
Okay. All right.
That was our punishment as kids.
Okay.
Standing in a corner.
And do you have in terms of, there was some issues brought up, I guess, throughout these proceedings, and do you have any, I guess, a history of mental health issues that you're aware of?
No, I do not.
Okay. And are you currently taking any substances that would impair your
No.
ability to in any way?
None at all.
Okay. All right. And then we heard testimony previously that you were working for the union. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I believe you began working there in January of 2021.
Correct.
Okay. And you took a pause, I believe around the fall of 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And why, and why was that?
Because you get laid off when the job is completed.
Okay. And were a lot of the jobs you were getting, were they out of state?
At the time, yes. When I first started, I had to go out of state to Minnesota. I was on a work permit because I wasn't a union worker, and that's how I got in. And then after being in it for a year, I got into the union, and then I was transferred to another union for Michigan, and that's how it started. As far
Okay.
as the job, yes.
And then, I guess going forward, it's my understanding that you were looking for opportunities closer, in Michigan. Is that correct?
Correct. So I could exercise my time with my son, get my parenting time.
Okay. And you live, and who do you live with?
I live with my mom and dad and my older brother, Mike.
Okay. And how is the child's relationship with your dad and mom and Mike?
He loves it here. Most of the time he's on my hip, but he does go, and hang out with the family, with me.
Okay. And during, when Mr. Bashaw was in jail, did the child speak about his father often, or?
No.
Okay,
I don't-
okay. And, do you, are you, do you have any concerns about, Mr. Bashaw? The environment that Mr. Bashaw is in?
Yes, I do. He does have narcolepsy, which he falls asleep. And I know from his past and heard of his past of him uh using needles and stuff. I've seen him drinking. He was abusive to me, but I never turned him in. I mean,
Okay,
and plus all of his legal stuff going on now is also a concern.
okay, all right, and, are you, um, did your son witnessed, Mr. Bashaw being arrested?
Yes, he did. He cried and said he wanted his daddy, and I told him that his daddy would be back out soon, is what I told my son.
Okay, all right, and, at the time of, you indicated that there was, how long were you in a relationship with Mr. Bashaw?
For about 14 years, I got with them before I was 20, and they kicked me out when I was 33, and the boy was about 3 months old.
Okay. And then,
So a long time.
okay, and then, shortly after that, that's when this case opened?
Yep. I helped him raise Kelly's boy Daniel. I helped Kelly's boy Daniel's daughter. I took care of all their family. I helped him with his parents. I mean, I did a lot for that family.
Okay,
So
and, um, and going back to, your job with the union, and I may have asked this, and, I believe, Philip,
Okay. Uh, this case is just fucked up all around, y'all. This is she's throwing a lot of shade. He looks ready for some questions. Um, again, get a lawyer. Get a lawyer, please. Also, thank you and welcome to anybody who's just getting here. Please hit the like button. You know how helpful that is to me. Um, and yeah, this has been a nutso case. And literally, I've been mostly letting them speak because it's like one thing after after another after another. It's crazy.
addressed it earlier, but with the union, you're drug tested pretty regularly?
yeah,
Okay. You're breaking up.
Breaking up is hard to do.
Wendy?
Yeah, I believe she's frozen.
oop, hold
Okay.
on.
Okay, now we hear you.
Can you
We're
hear me now?
good. Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
You're tested at orientation. If you get laid off and come back, you're drug tested, and they also do random.
okay. And you never failed a drug test, correct?
Nope.
Okay. And you, and how would you, pardon me, We, over the last, couple of years, you've had to file, um, multiple motions to enforce your parenting time. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and why did you?
I did
File those motions?
I did that because Dan wasn't allowing me to do my visitations.
Okay,
A lot of times he went, or he said he would be there and not show up,
okay,
or give me excuses. So
okay.
Leather lashes, thank you for being here. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. How are you? How are you healing up? Been thinking about you and your butt. In good ways, my friend, in good ways. Um, if you'll do me a solid and subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, that would be really helpful. We are having quite an evening. This is fucking a nutso case. Uh, this lawyer has said more times than the little drummer boys at Christmas. Ba-rum-pa-pum-pum, bum-pa-pum-pum, bum-pa-pum-pum.
And, would, would you indicated there was a change, you noticed certain changes when, your son was in your care for a longer period of time.
correct.
Okay, what, were there also behavioral changes?
Yeah, he was definitely well more behaved. He would come back from dance a lot and be wanting to like smack me and different things. Um, when I had him for those 60 days or whatever it was, you could really understand him with him being here for like 2 weeks. And then when he came back from Candies, or since he's been at Candies, he's actually harder for us to understand. We have to slow him down and say his words more clear.
Okay,
Ma'am, did you just remember that you also should probably slow down and think of your words a little more clearly? It's like she literally did. It sounds like I changed the fucking speed. Look at that. That wasn't me. That was her realizing, oh my God. Oh my God, I forgot. I was supposed to slow down. Think of my words.
For those 60 days or whatever it was, you could really understand him with him being here for like 2 weeks. And then when he came back from Candies, or since he's been at Candies, he's actually harder for us to understand. We have to slow him down and say his words more clear.
okay. Do you believe, were there specific, were there other instances, I guess, where you believe that it was not in your son's best interest to be with his father?
Yes, I came back from Minnesota. Dan didn't tell me nothing until I went to get him. He hurt his arm, either broke it or something. It was in a cast. Another time I was up in Crystal Falls and came back home to get him. He had a bunch of bruises on his back, and they weren't all the same color figurations. And just recently, I mean, I know boy gets bruises and bumps and stuff, but he had a big scrape on his leg, gets bruises on his knees. Before, when he's with his dad, a lot of times he'd be dirty, his ears were dirty. Or he had food still on his mouth. I mean, and a lot of times his excuses were, oh, we were late because I was getting him ready. Well, he's showing up dirty, I mean, but yeah.
And are you, I guess when if you ever have to work or be out of the house, who assists you in taking care of Daniel?
My mother or other family members, or if I
Okay.
have to find a daycare, I will do that.
Okay. And just to be clear, you have your own driver's license and you're able to
Yes, I
go
do.
as you
And
need. Okay.
insurance, yep. I have a
Okay.
legal vehicle, roadworthy, and a
Okay.
car seat, yep.
In a car seat. Okay. And do you and then since July, in July, the child was went back to Candy's home at some point, correct?
Yes, July 13th, or July 12th, he went back to Candy's.
Okay. And and it's your understanding that when Mr. Bishaw was released from jail, he moved in with Candy, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And what and when is it since then you still how often have you seen your child?
When he first went back, it was every Thursday and Sunday. And Candy said she would work with me on Saturdays, but she never did. And then just
Twice
last
a week?
Tuesday,
So about
yes,
twice a week? Okay.
correct. And not because I wasn't trying.
Okay. And do you would you have any issue getting your child to and from school?
No, sir.
Okay. And do you would you ensure that his homework is done and that he's
Oh,
well?
yes. He
Okay.
has to have good grades,
Okay.
good attendance.
Okay. And do you have any issue? Would you interfere with him with his father being able to co-parent and I guess
No, not as long as he was sober and could take care of him. No, I would have no issue with him and the boy.
okay.
And no exes that, or no people that got felons and bad people. So, yeah.
Okay. Do you believe that his girlfriend he was with that was living with him at recently,
Yeah.
your understanding that she was also involved in drugs and
Oh, yeah, she has a record.
okay.
Yep.
And is it your is that something, I guess you mentioned his drug habit and his
Narcolepsy.
yeah, is this something that you believe has affected his ability to be a good father?
Yes, because I got the boy's school records and he missed a lot of school and he only lived a mile or two away from school. He normally showed up in the afternoon. So yes, I do have concerns.
Okay. Would you ensure that he gets to school every day?
Oh, yes, early.
Okay. Are you
For
a pretty punctual person?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially with my job, I get up early and work late. So,
Okay. And in terms of a parenting time schedule, what do you think would be, what schedule do you think would be in the best interest of the minor child?
I mean, if the judge will let me, I'd have the boy whenever they will let me have him. I mean, I got somebody to watch him if I have to go to work so I can support him. And
Okay. So we've discussed, do you want to have you want to be the primary custodial parent? Is that
yes,
fair to say? Okay.
correct.
And you'd have no objection to, again, assuming he's in a safe environment,
Yes.
Mr. Bishaw having the child on weekends or
Yeah, I'd still
sharing?
like it to be supervised personally.
Okay. And what type of um and is that because of your concern about his drug use and
Yes,
alcohol
correct.
use? Okay.
And his willing to break the law. I don't want the boy being a part of that.
Okay.
Oh.
Um and um will you let me see, give me one moment, please.
I don't like how they're calling him the boy.
In general, would you consider yourself a loving, stable, and capable mother?
I do.
Okay. And and is it fair to say that you want you believe that you more involvement, and specifically that you being the primary custodial parent would be in the best interest of the child?
I do.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I have no further questions at this time.
Jeff,
Yeah.
the school emergency thing.
Oh, if I may,
Also,
I apologize. And you, there was a concern. You contacted his school, Daniel's school, correct?
correct. The father did not tell me where the boy was going or if he was even in school. I found it out a different way. And I went there to put my name on his emergency list. And Dan had his name and Kelly Dustin's on the emergency list. So I added mine.
Okay, and who's Kelly Dustin?
That is his longtime ex-girlfriend that he's been with off and on.
Okay, and it's and why did you ask him why your name was not on the list, emergency list?
No. After I found that out, he was in jail, Jeff.
Okay, and is this the first time? This past time, was this the first time that he's been in jail during your?
As far as I know, I have not been told of any other time until I was in Crystal Falls and CPS got a hold of me and said that him and Kelly were arrested.
Okay, and for what?
They said he was underneath the influence, and the boy wasn't in a proper car seat, is what the CPS worker told.
Underneath the influence? I've never heard that before. Is that the right term? Underneath the influence? Um, Referee Hagen is like frustrated. He's like, I wish I could use the wand. Why did I get banished to the Muggle world where I'm not allowed to use magic and I have to listen to these people with their stupid problems all day long?
Told me.
Okay,
I don't know if they got or if they were swerving. I have no idea why he was pulled over.
and when were you told, or when did you learn of this?
This was probably like September in 2021, I believe.
Okay.
I'd
And
have to look on my phone to find the exact date, but that's close to the time.
okay. And
And oops.
do you recall what happened with that CPS matter?
Well, I was getting a hold of CPS because of the bruises on the boy's back, and Heidi had I talked to Heidi and she sent another caseworker that was up in Crystal Falls to talk to me. And he asked me questions if I knew about it. And I said I didn't have no idea that even happened.
Okay. And
And I showed him the pictures of the bruises on the boy's back. So
okay. Is there anything else that you well, I guess here, one moment. Is there anything else that you want to indicate to the court?
just that me and my boy love each other and he didn't want to leave his mommy. And I just want what's best for my son to have the best healthy education life and not have to worry about bad things happening to him.
Okay. And okay. And do you and I guess I would just give me one moment if I may.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Kent, why do you believe that Mr. Bashaw is currently using drugs?
Because he's addicted to it, Your Honor. I've seen him DT. It's something he does.
When was that?
Um, the the whole time I was with him, and when we go to pick up the boy, he seems messed up. Even my other family members think so.
When the two of you were together, were you both using together?
I did smoke weed here and there, and then when the boy was born, I had morphine, Your Honor. And I barely ever drank alcohol, so.
How much do we believe that?
And then just to clarify, you may have clarified this with Mr. Perlman, but I'm not clear. What's going on with your job right now?
Right now, I am laid off.
Okay.
Because I wanted to, there's jobs for me to work in Michigan, but I wanted to make sure I could be at these court dates. There's so many in a row. That's why I'm not back to work yet. And
Understood.
plus I had my son with me.
So this was the second period. There was a period in the fall of 2022 when you were taking a pause or however we called it. But now you're also laid off.
Yes, correct.
All right.
It
So
happens to union workers, to pipeliners.
Sure. I just wanted to make sure that.
Yep, then you get unemployment until it runs out. So.
Okay. And then, so you're not currently drug testing?
No, not right now. As soon as I go back to work, I will be.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I understand it's part of the process. I'm just trying to figure out where we're at in the process.
Yep. Heidi did drug test me not that long ago. June something, I believe.
Who's Heidi?
She's a CPS worker, the specialist that did an investigation with me.
That was in June?
I believe so.
If I could build a
That's all right. I'd like to ask some more questions. Thanks. Ms. Kent, you have a current pending CPS case?
No, I do not. It was closed. Not that long after I was out of candies, I believe. I got the exact date in the house, Your Honor.
I understand you're saying it's closed. I'm just trying to figure it out, okay?
Yep, I'm
So-
just trying to help.
what was the case? What was it open
The
for as
case
far as
was open because Kelly's boy called the hospital, said I was shooting up oxys and heroin, and said the house was a mess.
so this was you were being investigated.
Me and Dan.
Okay.
Dan
both of
was
you.
tested positive for meth.
I'm sorry, when was this, Wendy?
This was when I gave birth to the boy. Like the very next day, CPS was at the hospital. That's when it all started.
The boy, the boy, the boy, the boy. I hate it how they're saying the boy. What? That's very serious. My God. Oh, Jesus. She does have an attorney. He's like, oh my, no, 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 just shut up. Just shut up. Shut up.
They called the night I went to the hospital. I got every report from the hospital and CPS.
Okay, so I think Your Honor was asking about June. And that's,
She said June.
oh yeah, so June of this year, and you were interviewed because Candy,
Yes, because her
No,
Yeah.
I don't want your attorney telling you what to say. That's
no,
completely.
I just
No, I'm sorry. I just
have to mute your
misunderstood your
attorney then.
question.
I'm asking the questions. You'll have redirect. And it's inappropriate for your attorney to tell you what to say, because now you know exactly what to say. All I'm trying to figure out is why was CPS testing you in June? This isn't me accusing you of something.
Yeah, okay. I understand
It's
your
important.
question.
Listen, it's important for me to understand what's going on. Okay.
Correct. I was
Not what your
tested.
attorney tells you to say.
Do you
So
still want me to answer?
I do. What happened in
Okay.
June?
When I was with the boy, I got a letter in the mail from the courts to be questioned by Heidi. She came here, asked me a bunch of questions, and gave me a drug test at the end of it. It was for guardianship over my son.
The current open guardianship.
Yes, which I knew nothing about.
Well, but it was what do you know when the guardianship began?
No, not exactly. No, I do not. All I know is when I went to get CPS and my lawyer told me I could go to Candy's and get my son when Dan was in jail. And I went there and she showed the cop a paper saying she had temporary custody. That's how I found out, Your Honor.
Okay, that clarifies. Thank you. Mr. Bishaw, do you have any questions for Ms. Kent?
Yeah, you beat out there. Was you asking me that? If I need questions, Ms. Kemp?
Yes.
Okay, yes, matter of fact, I do. Yes, Wendy, when you initially got that job, on the pipeline there, you were just nicely getting back to getting involved with the baby's life, correct?
No, that's not correct.
Because you wasn't able to see him a whole lot because of the.
No. I didn't see him a whole lot because you kept him from me. My mom wasn't
Night,
working
Beth.
her other job at that time, Dan, and I could get him Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays.
Yeah, that was after the court actually put that in order. Right?
After our court date, sure, Dan, that's
yeah,
when the
Yeah,
3
but then,
days happened.
yeah, but you just nicely getting to know him because there's a big, it's hard for him to get to go with you. He's really upset and didn't want to go because he didn't really know of you and stuff.
No, that's incorrect.
You just get nicely, he's getting more comfortable with you, right? When you got that job and all that stuff.
No, he's been comfortable with me the whole time, Dan, even when I would barely see him because of you.
Well, you guys just getting better at, he wasn't crying so much when you take his stuff, but then you, when you left to go out of state for about a year, and you signed a paper about, you're giving up your visits for the baby, but you want me to transfer him over to your mother. And
What is the question? I'm lost.
I'll take care of that.
Okay, couldn't you have got a different job close to home and seen your son instead of going out of state?
Not at that time, no, because I wasn't in the union, Dan. And jobs around here, like the ALP job, I was living paycheck to paycheck where I couldn't take care of anything other than making it back and forth to work and paying a few bills and child support. So no, it didn't work. I don't have a high education, far as schooling. So no, there's nothing around at that time for me to do. I couldn't be a lawyer or doctor. No, there's nothing.
I mean, you went to go do that job. You remember where you went and had that paper notarized, me and you?
Yes, that was after I got the job. I wanted my mom to get the boy because I couldn't be there besides every Sunday or every other Sunday. So I wanted you to let her have him so you'd still be a part of this family. So he wasn't missing out like he does when I was home. And you agreed to it. And then after a few times, you disagreed with it and stopped my mom from letting him see him, which at that time I was talking to him through video chat with my mom and I actually was with my boy through video chat. So
yeah, I offered that as well when you
while I was working.
when you getting ready to leave, I offered you to video chat him anytime you wanted, and I'd send you pictures and stuff, and you just told me to give them to your mother. But I did offer. Yep, I did offer.
You went against what we signed, so I don't know what your question is, Dan.
I was just saying that you took off and left the state for work when you could have got a job closer.
Yeah, to get an education so I could support my son.
There's nothing.
Okay.
Ms. Kent,
Wait till he asks a question. I'm sorry.
yes, we just need to, for everyone, it's questions and then answers. But Ms. Kent, I understand that you want to just say what you want, but the problem is you have to answer the questions Mr. Bishaw asked. Mr. Perlman will ask you questions on redirect if he feels like you need to answer more, okay?
Okay, I already answered him that there was
You
no
don't just
job.
answer the questions as you are asked. Do you understand?
Okay. Correct.
So, and I would just, again, Your Honor, ask, again, indicate that this is narrative. There's no questions being asked for the last few minutes. So
I understand. Part of that is partially true, but part of what Mr. Bishaw is doing, as we're hopefully people are learning, is he makes a statement, but then asks. We have to wait a little bit. We have to be somewhat patient, and then Ms. Kent is just firing off. So this is relative chaos. I mean, I need Mr. Bishaw to ask questions. I understand he's having a hard time doing that, but Ms. Kent is just interrupting. So we're not going to be done. We have 59 minutes left in this hearing. Okay. So let's try to get through it together, everyone, or else we'll be back.
Okay.
Another situation when before you even had visitation, I would be indecent. The protective service told me I didn't have to. I'd take it down 1 day a week, letting you see me at the pizza place, you and your mother, correct?
You allowed that, yeah.
Yes. And then your mother went out to her vehicle and got a car seat, and you guys tried taking off. And that's when the police had to be called, correct?
No, Dan, it's not correct.
Okay, but the lady called the police and the cops come and everything else because you started to take off with him.
I was taking my boy for my visitation, Dan. I didn't do anything wrong.
Okay, but you had no visitation whatsoever at that time, Wendy.
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, no, you're wrong. We wasn't in the court system yet. It's just through protective services. They told me they would not.
I object. Same objection. Sorry.
Okay, then you talk, mentioned a few things about abuse and different things like that. Wendy, you recall I took you up to your mother's in when you were swinging on me and stuff, and the cops come and took you.
Dan, this ain't a question. My mom called the cops on me because I said something about the Lord and she wanted them to check me out and they did. So.
Yeah, because you would foam it at the mouth and you started swinging at me, couldn't tell you I love
No,
you that day.
that's incorrect, but you, what am I supposed to say, Judge, when this ain't true? I wasn't
Just
swinging
say
at
no,
him,
just
that's
say
for
no,
sure.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
just-
not true.
Yeah, that if that you just answer honest, you answer honestly. I'm not instructing
I
you
always do, so.
to lie.
And after I found out when you was pregnant, you had 7.5, 8 months long in there. Several people have tried to get you to go to the doctor for prenatal care also, correct?
No, I tried to get in there myself and they told me I had to know a certain date when I stopped my period. And then when I tried to set that up, I found out in March that I was pregnant and I had him in June. That whole time I tried to go see a doctor, so you're wrong.
Well, no, because your brother came over to our house and so did your mother trying to get you to, and I have tried several times. You kept giving me excuses.
Object to relevance.
I need
No,
well,
it's
first of
not.
all, I need a question, but
Okay, what was the reasoning for you not going and getting the doctor? You could walk in the hospital and get a doctor for, to get prenatal care.
I think that's extremely relevant. Hold on. We're going to go back. I think that is extremely relevant. She's glossed over it. You're lying. Yeah, they might ask you when was your last period. You say, I don't know. They say, okay. And then you fucking go on.
You're wrong.
Well, no, because your brother came over to our house and so did your mother trying to get you to, and I have tried several times. You kept giving me excuses.
Object to relevance.
I need
No,
well,
it's
first of
not.
all, I need a question, but
Okay, what was the reasoning for you not going and getting the doctor? You could walk in the hospital and get a doctor for, to get prenatal care. What was your reasoning?
There wasn't a reason. I called trying to get to see a doctor when I was pregnant. And they told me that I needed to know more stuff about last period date. And I told them it's always different. And so I had to go set up another appointment to try to find out my last cycle. And that's when I ended up having birth, Dan. So,
Well, there's several people can't remember that day, but anyway,
yeah.
what was a baby born with drugs in the system and addicted to drugs?
Is this a question?
Yes.
that
The
was very
boy had
clear.
morphine.
I would say that was a very clear question.
He
Ms. Kent.
knows the answer is all I'm getting at, Judge.
Well, you don't need
Sorry.
to comment on that. Presumably your attorney knows the questions he's asking you or the answers to the questions he's asking. Mr. Bishaw can ask you questions, whether he knows or not. Maybe this is helpful. I don't know the answer to these questions if it's not on the record. I can only consider things that are on the record.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
I asked if when the baby was born, if he had drugs in the system and he was addicted to drugs.
He was not addicted to drugs, but yes, he had drugs in his system.
Okay, when I wasn't at the hospital right there, I'd leave. Why would they take the baby out of the room and put him in a nursery?
The objection is speculation.
I would agree.
Okay, because he didn't want to. She wanted to hold him, or she showed no interest.
I understand. Mr. Bishaw, it's not your time to testify.
I'm sorry.
Ask some questions, please.
Okay, and then he was transferred to Munson down to Traverse City because of his addiction. They couldn't deal with him up in Charlottesville, and I stayed right there and at the hospital in Traverse, and any class I could take, or the new CPR, things like that. I took all those classes like that.
I'm not, how can I help you ask a question here? Because that's all a statement. Do you have any more questions for Ms. Kent?
Yeah, and yes, I do. She talks about these drugs. Well, I was on medication because I had a bad accident and I fell, and I was on these medications, and that's a drug I'm sure she's referring to, because if CPS come to the hospital, I volunteered to take drug tests all along, as which she'd see him pulling the driveway, she'd take off and run for them.
Okay.
And she
I'd object to this narrative. He's not he's testifying.
Agreed.
Oh, okay, Wendy, would you take off and run from the CPS people when they pull in to give you a drug test?
What's that?
Would you take off and run out the basement or leave so the CPS people could not drug test you?
No,
Did you at Bob and Reva's take off through the tall barns and they chased you?
I took off at Bob and Riva's because I was scared they were going to take the boy from me. Yes. Because
Whoa.
Candy called CPS because I quit doing the early on visitations over at her house and put it over at Riva's. So she called CPS on me. Yes, I did take off.
Why would you be
Oh,
scared?
boy.
You didn't take the baby though.
Exactly what I said. I was scared they were going to take the boy from me because of what you and Candy have been saying and doing.
I was doing everything I was supposed to. You wasn't meeting with people anyways. Yes, every time I dropped him off with you, the boy was clean, his hair was done. He might have a little food on his mouth from eating breakfast, but you even say how nice he looked. I mean, his hair was all
I object to the narrative.
I agree.
Wendy, have you ever bought him any clothing or any toys?
Yes, I have, Dan.
Wait,
I bought him a four-wheeler. I bought him a bunch of clothes. I bought him shoes. I bought him all of his needs.
okay, I was just gonna say,
Um,
and
yeah.
any toy that he wanted to bring to the house, would you let him?
Yes. Even ones I didn't want to let because I knew they wouldn't come back, Dan. So
I know you complained about that orange pair of socks you got back because his got wetter. So
yeah.
and it wasn't it true that CPS made us put the baby in my sister's bedroom at night because they felt unsafe?
That was between me, you, and Candy, Dan, and CPS signed it. If you're can remember that far back.
Oh, that's really a dumb, snippy answer, my darling. This child, oh, I feel for this child. Please let somebody be overwatching this child. Um, uh, the poor boy. Poor boy. I'm getting better vibes from dad than I am from mom. I'll be honest. Uh, she's saying some incredulous things. Her lawyer's being a little quiet. What is going on with Candy? I want candy. I want candy.
Yeah, I can, but CPS is one to put that stipulation in order, is what I'm saying.
We put it in order. It was our when we worked with Families First, we made the plan to make the baby safe. And you guys were saying I was sleepwalking and doing stuff. Yes. Yeah, the boy was in a not for very long, but yeah, he was in Candy's room in a playset or playpen, sorry.
Hi, Bruce,
Well,
and thank you, T-Rex.
yeah, he was safe right there in the bedroom with me. I don't know why you didn't think it. I would want him being with my sister, you know, why it would burden her with that is our child.
Judge,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I would object. First of all, it's not a question. Secondly, I object to relevance. Again, this pertains to again, what's happened since the last court order.
Well, I agree with that, but I think on direct, we were going way back. And I think even with her mom, we were going way back. So it's hard for me to tell what people want to talk about. The time
Yeah.
frame, we shouldn't be talking about when the child was born. I agree, but it's been, the door's open. And so I'm trying to corral everybody back.
Yeah.
I don't know that we
Okay.
need to, we definitely don't need to relitigate the initial, the initial CPS case. I mean, the reality is you all signed a stip for this parenting time arrangement that's currently in order. And so presumably, or at least the court presumes, that you took all of that information into consideration when you signed that stip. So you've
Yes.
already, in a sense, you have all understood that you built an agreement that is the current order based on all that history. So this case right now, this motion is from that time period on. I mean, I understand that some of the best interest factors can relate back past that, but the reality is we're looking from that step on. Okay. That's what I'm trying to focus on. And what's the current state of things?
Yep, and I just want to add to, as far as like Kelly Dustin, she keeps bringing up, we've not been a couple since 2001 or 2002 anyways.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you were talking about, anyway, I did not understand that. Sorry. I don't. Anyway, that's a statement you can make on when you're testifying. You can continue to ask questions, but I'm just telling you, we really don't need to relitigate the CPS
Yeah.
issues.
And those guys testified, you know, how well mannered he was and happy and joyful. Well, that doesn't come from somebody that's you know, a dad that's being bad and not raising right thing. I had him in speech therapy, and he had a surgery, another
I
surgery.
object. Mr. Bashaw, is there any more questions?
Yeah. How come he wasn't took and do his other surgery that he had in July on his mouth from when he had him?
Because it was rescheduled till a later date that they didn't even reschedule because they want him to do speech therapy.
He went through speech therapy. They had him scheduled for July 11th.
They rescheduled it, Dan.
You must have.
No, they did.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I don't find anything funny about this court case.
No.
I
that's
don't,
not-
he doesn't
that-
believe me. He's lying about
Mr.
everything.
Bashaw, any further questions for this witness?
No, but that's very important. His speech, you know, the rest of his life, right? And that's how definitely want to make sure he had that done as of the first one down DeVos. And that's very important to his, you know, the rest of his life. And as he goes on, you know, me and him got a bond. I mean, it's unconditional, and you know, it's very loving. Everybody around him here loves him.
And with the speech
One sec.
therapist,
There was no
question. No question.
well, there was about his appointment.
That's okay, Ms. Kent. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Bashaw, do you have a
Okay.
question for Ms. Kent?
No, Your Honor, I don't.
All right. Mr. Perlman, do you have any redirect?
Just very, very briefly, Ms. Kent, you indicated that CPS contacted you this summer. Is it your understanding that Candy called CPS regarding the guardianship case?
Yes,
Okay, and they came and spoke with you?
yes, and the guardianship lawyer.
Okay, and at that time, they took a drug test?
Yes,
Okay, were you expecting them to come?
no.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't sure why she was coming there really. Because it was all like real short notice.
Okay, so how much notice did you have that they were coming?
I don't even think a week, I don't think.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not exact. I'd have to look at my paperwork when I
Okay.
got it.
Okay, and did you pass the drug test?
Yes, I found out through Danielle from CPS that I passed it.
Okay, and was there any CPS case open that you're aware of?
Nope, I tried to open up a case to have them watch me with the boy, and they said he's not here enough for them to do that.
Okay, and you okay, so I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bashaw, do you have any final questions for Ms. Kent based on the questions that Mr. Perlman was just asking?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Perlman, do you have any further witnesses or exhibits?
Let me see here. I did let me see, there were several, there were references to, Mr. Bashaw's criminal record. There's an iChat, attached to the motion. I would just ask to enter that as an exhibit.
Is it certified?
It is, we purchased it directly from the website. Let me see here.
I think you'd have to get it in through Mr. Bashaw anyway. He hasn't testified yet,
Okay, so I don't have anything further at this time.
but I don't know if it's certified either. But you can look at that. I mean, I was asking honestly. I haven't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't verify whether it was certified because this is the first time we have talked about it on the record. Well, first time we've talked about it ever. How's that? Okay, so other than that, then any further witnesses or exhibits, Mr. Perlman?
No, Your Honor.
All right, plaintiff rests. Mr. Bashaw, do you have any witnesses or exhibits, which would include yourself? You call yourself when you're representing yourself, if you would like to.
No, Your Honor.
You understand? Okay, that's fine. You don't have to testify, but did you want to testify?
Testify for what? I didn't understand that.
So the reason why I kept cutting you off when you were just making statements is because you're just asking questions. It wasn't for me to just be mean. Okay. It's if you want to offer your statements, if you want to say something to the court and have the court review it as evidence and consider it as evidence, you have to be under oath, and then you can tell your side of the story. Okay.
Sure.
But if you don't, I'm not going to make you do that. It's your choice. It's just
Sure.
When I'm asking if you have any witnesses, sometimes when people are unrepresented, that is confusing because yourself, you call yourself as well if you're wanting to make statements under oath. So
Sure.
I'm asking you now.
Yep. Sure, I will. Yep.
All right, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. So this is your opportunity to tell the court. Sometimes I guess I summarize it as tell the court what you want and why, and any other parts about this, and then Mr. Perlman will be able to cross-examine you and ask you questions. Okay, so unless I have any questions, I'm not going to ask you any questions. I'm just going to listen. Okay.
Yep. All right, well, first of all, after the baby was born, we lived here basically with my sister, been here since basically birth, and loving family here. I got great support people, and I've lived in the house in Albert for 35 years plus. But yeah, but since the baby is born, been here. I mean, we got a great bond. I do everything that possibly can for him, and any needs, and go to any appointments or any classes I have to do for him, or any doctor appointment, dentist, anything he needs. And he's my apple of my eye. And I mean, we got an unconditional bond. And whatever, his schooling is very important to me, as long as his speech and his hearing, and the list goes on. And I heard Bundy speak about a couple of bruises on his back and stuff. Well, officers did come to the house, and they could see because I bought him a 12-volt full drive truck, and as he's getting in and out of it, that's how he slid and got him on his back there and off the swing set. The officers see no problem with it whatsoever. But yes, he absolutely, he's a block away from the school here, and always somebody here, to care for him. And, he's always well fed at the right time, and he bathed. And, the school is 100% important to me. And so is, as well as my sister and her son, Matthew. But yeah, I love my eye, and I'd do whatever it takes to make sure he's safe and healthy.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Perlman, do you have any questions for Mr. Bishaw? cross-examination, in other words.
I do. Mr. Bischoff, can you confirm that you're currently unemployed?
Yes, I'm not working at this time.
Okay, and how do you support yourself?
I am on disability.
Okay, and how do you ensure that the child's material needs are met when you're not working and when you're not working?
It's to the money I have from my disability.
Okay,
And if there's some reason I couldn't possibly cover, and my sister and Matt, I mean, my other sister had no problem helping out whatsoever.
okay. Isn't it true that you have a suspended license?
No, I have a driver's license.
Okay. Can you isn't it true, Mr. Bashar, that you've been pulled over for drunk driving or for driving under the influence with your minor child in the car?
No, Your Honor, that is not true.
Okay. Were you pulled over, or can you confirm strike that. So are you or have you ever been a user of intravenous drugs?
No. Prescription medications? Yeah. You know, like I said, back when I got injured, I was on prescription medications.
Okay. And before living with your sister, who were you living with?
Me and my son at my house until I had some mechanical problems there. Then we was back over here.
Okay. How many times have you had to relocate in the last 2 years?
Just at one time back here, my sister out of that place, like I said, for 30+ years.
Okay. And then how do you you were arrested on April 29th, 2022, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And what were you arrested for?
That was me purchasing a boat off Facebook, and that all charges have been dropped. That's why I went to jail.
Okay. And you were arrested now. You're also arrested on April 27th of 2022, correct?
Yeah, yep.
And that was for a warrant for possession of dangerous drugs. Is that correct?
No,
Okay. So is
I
it true?
what's
Go
that?
ahead.
Excuse me. No, go ahead. Ask the question.
Isn't it true that you had a case that you were arrested on by Charlevoix County, the Charlevoix County Sheriff Department for possession of dangerous drugs in April of 2022?
That was my own medication, sir.
Okay.
They did blood work and everything else on me, and it's just nothing but my own medication.
Okay. And what medication was that?
My Ritalin for my narcolepsy and gabapentin for the nerve damage in my feet.
Oh, I used to take both of those medications. Hmm. I hope I sound a little smarter than that. Speaking of med check, med check, med check, med check. What that means is take your meds. If you don't take meds, come down and tell us what that's like. Uh, a narcolepsy medicine, it's sort of an old one, you know. Um, eh, they have better ones these days for narcolepsy. Gabapentin is like candy. They give that out like candy here. I really liked gabapentin until I was like, I think this is making me fat. Although again, Well, we'll see. But I don't take gabapentin anymore. I have to wean off that one though. Actually, that's remembering. That's why I did that because I was like, ugh, I can do without any of them except for that one. So then I stopped taking that one. Um, he's got some good questions. She's dodging a lot of his answers. Yeah, Courtney, that was a big problem too. But that bounced back without the GABA. Her lawyer, oh my gosh, must be being paid by the hour. Judge Hagen, again, planning his next surf trip, where he's going, what he's doing. It's pretty easy to test people. Like she's claiming, oh, I'm get tested at work. I'm sorry. She like she hasn't been tested since June. And I'm gonna be willing to bet that her lover, non-lover, friend lover, lover, whatever they are, is the guy in charge of the testing. Right? He gives a little heads up, you know. Anyways. Uh let's keep watching. Judge Hagen seems like he does have a whole different hairstyle on his profile page. Yeah, but you know what, Grim? What I think what we have to remember is a lot of the profile pages were made pre-COVID, and people aren't updating them. And COVID changed everybody. No matter what you want to think, it changed us all somehow. Um, yeah, yeah, they're not going to do that. They can't even get Zoom court to work properly and get people's audio connected. They're not going to fucking update people's pictures. It's hilarious to me. Anyways, let's continue watching. If you're just getting here, hit the like button. It's very, 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 very helpful to me. We're coming up on 3 hours, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Oh, I will say this. I had shingles when I was 26 years old, and it was so painful. And the doctor was like, yes, if you still have this pain after a year, we give you this uh, Neurontin, which is like pregabalin, very similar to gabapentin in a way. Anyways, I was like, a year? Fuck you. I am not waiting a year. You can write the prescription right now. And the doctor was like, well, I'm like, no, now. And they're like, well, I have some samples. And they gave me 2 weeks of samples. And I just took 1 week and literally gone. I was like, why y'all assholes making people wait a year for this? What is wrong with you? Fucking sadists. Whew. Shingles, probably one of the most painful things I've ever had in my entire life. I've given birth. Um, and I caught it early and took like antivirals or whatever. And it was the tiniest little spot on my back. And I literally couldn't wear a bra or a shirt for like 6 weeks. It was that painful. And I remember I had a young child. She was, I guess, 5 years old, 5.5. And if anybody does have shingles or gets shingles, there's a cream, one special cream that I found. My dad had shingles last year, and I felt like such a good daughter for once. I literally just bossed it out. I went onto the internet. I bought the cream. I had it shipped to his house. I was just like, this is it. I'm not gonna just tell you about it. I just sent it. And it's called, what is it called? Nature's Aid Skin Gel. And it's got like 5 ingredients. It doesn't work for long, but it works like a fire hose putting out fire on your back when you have shingles. And I used to have my daughter have to just squirt it on my back, and I was lay on the living room floor. I'd be like, just squirt it on. That sounds horrible. It's not meant to be dirty, you guys, for once. Anyways, um, the thing about shingles vaccine and the reason that they often tell people to delay it is because the studies they've done with the shingles vaccine have all included an older population, and they haven't really approved it for double dosing. And so they basically want you to avoid shingles at the most dangerous point in your life, which is when you're older. And they calculate it like, oh, you're only going to be able to have it once. I think as we go forward in time, that will change, probably just due to people like me who have had shingles younger. The best shingles vaccine that you can actually take for yourself is if you know somebody that has chicken pox, their kids have chicken pox somehow, they're weird anti-vaxxers. No offense, but if you know somebody with chicken pox, go hang out with them. That's a shingles vaccine, basically.
And then meloxicam, that's a pill for swelling and things like
And
that. Yeah.
everybody that will
Okay,
have shingles has
why do
had
you,
chickenpox, cannot have shingles if have not had chickenpox. They're both caused by the same virus, the varicella virus. And so what happens is the first exposure to that virus, it results in chickenpox. Generally, in the past, the exposure was as a child, and everybody had chickenpox as a kid. That's cool. I had chickenpox. Um, then most people were exposed to kids with chickenpox for in whatever, like ever, whatever exposure you have. Um, but then the chickenpox vaccine came around, and now kids don't get chickenpox, and therefore adults are not exposed to the chickenpox virus, which isn't boosting their natural immunity to shingles. So after you have had chickenpox, you may have a stress reaction or some sort of reaction which reactivates the varicella virus in your body. It's not caused by chickenpox. Like being exposed to chickenpox doesn't give you shingles. It literally promotes your body to build antibodies about it when there's very few ways to tell what actually triggers a shingles outbreak, but oftentimes it's stress. Then how much your body has to fight is based on how much you've been exposed to it. Um, so if you are an adult, however, that never had chickenpox, it is important that you don't expose yourself to somebody with chickenpox as an adult unnecessarily, because chickenpox as an adult is actually quite dangerous and is not a smart way to go about getting a boost of shingles. If you have clear memories of yourself as a child that have had chickenpox, then you're good to go. You're not going to be, you don't have to worry. But for anybody that's maybe on the fence, they haven't had chickenpox or they can't really remember, it's not something that an adult wants to go through. And that's why it's so, um, it's just important, like, to think about that. And then the shingles vaccine, I think, is important to take as young as you can possibly take it. Like I said, I was 26 years old. You can only get shingles if you've had chickenpox. You will never get shingles if you didn't have chickenpox because you will get chickenpox first. It's a required prerequisite to have chickenpox before you can have shingles. Yeah. I don't know what else is going on in the chat there, but let's keep watching this. Hopefully nobody has shingles. If you do right now, let me know.
I wasn't pulled over. I stopped because my son had to go to the bathroom, and it's several miles away from the gas station place. So I stopped and let him go to the bathroom, and that's when the officer come rolling up there. But it wasn't like I was driving on the road or nothing like that, swerving, or he was out of the car, she climbing around or anything like that at all.
So what happened? The officer questioned you at that point?
Yeah. And then, well, you seen the pill bottle, and he said I was not able to drive under. It says that I cannot drive under those medications. I said, clearly states on the bottom, you just use care or caution when operating a vehicle or vessel.
And you were arrested that day?
Yep, and he told me, you're being arrested for operating under the influence of drugs.
And what did they do with your child?
That's when I had a friend right here from town come get him and bring him right to Matthew, my sister's son, came right and got him.
Okay, and did you tell Wendy about this?
Well, yeah, she knew everything like it. Yep.
Did you tell Wendy about this?
Yes.
Did you tell her that you were arrested and that that the child wasn't with you?
Yeah, it was overnight. Yep.
Okay, that you when did you tell her that?
On the next visitation that she had.
Okay, and you were also arrested on September 23rd of 2022, correct?
And what? Well, I can't remember. What was that date you give me just before?
September 23rd of 2022, correct?
Yeah, it was only once I was arrested.
Out of Sheboygan County?
Oh, yeah, it was over that boat. Yep, yep.
Okay, and why were you pulled over at that time? Were you pulled over?
No, I bought a boat from the lady on Facebook, and then I got receipts and everything else, and she turned around and said I broke into her garage and stole the boat, and that's what it took all this time for me to, for them to get all the evidence, and that's why I got released with no charge whatsoever after I said that time with her.
Okay, how did you make where did you make police contact? Was this at your house? Was this at the location?
I took the boat right back to her.
I said, where did you make police contact?
Right at her house.
Okay, and where was your son? Was he with you?
No,
Okay, okay, do you know where he was?
Yeah, he's with my sister.
Okay.
He's over eating.
And you were charged and eventually convicted of?
No, I was never convicted. It dropped all charges. It's all wrong.
Okay, I'm not done with my question. You were charged and eventually convicted of breaking and entering with felony stolen property, receiving and concealing, and a third count of larceny of building. Is that correct?
Yep, that's what I was being charged with.
Okay. And you were also convicted of those charges, correct?
No, absolutely not. All the charges was dismissed and dropped.
Okay, so it's your statement under oath that these charges were dropped.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. And you were arrested again in May of 2023, correct?
Yep, that was on the front of the court for when I missed that one video here. You and Wendy missed one, then the following one, I had the wrong Zoom ID. I was in the wrong room waiting. And the time I called Travers and got back, they already went to lunch, and I talked to the lady, and she said that they already issued a warrant for me. But yeah.
In the court, so the court had issued a warrant for a show cause or a contempt warrant, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, and you were in custody from May 25th until what, June or late July of 2023, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and you had actually at that time several warrants, correct?
No, it was just that one I posted bond for from the front of the court.
Okay, so you posted bond. When did you post the bond?
Back in like April or May is when I posted the bond. Yeah.
Okay, but you were held until July. Is that your testimony?
Yeah, up in Sheboygan I was.
Oh, up in Sheboygan. So you
Yeah.
weren't. So you were actually held on the breaking and entering and receiving, concealing, and larceny of a building. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And
Yep, so I got all the evidence and everything and seen that exactly what I had in return. I had receipts and then all the Facebook messages and everything. And then, yep, absolutely released me 100%, no charges. Everything was dropped.
okay, and what date was that dropped?
It was August 8th.
August 8th. Okay,
Yes,
is that when you were released from jail?
absolutely.
August 8th. Okay, so you're in jail from May until August 8th.
Yep.
Okay, and do you you'd and again, this warrant was originally from an incident that occurred in September of 2022. And you were arrested in September of 2022, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And
Can you give me 1 second? Two
Sure.
pens just ran out of ink. Let me just grab a pen.
okay.
What? What? What a cute
All right,
little
we're good.
excuse.
Okay, and I presume after you're arrested in September of 2022, you had a court date, correct?
No, they just kept the preliminary exam, and they just kept doing the docket call thing via Zoom.
Okay, but by May of 2023, you had a warrant on that case, correct? And a hold.
Yep.
How did that happen?
Violated the bond because I had a warrant out of Antrim County, and that was one of my bond conditions. I guess no contact with police, or this and that.
So
I
what was
tried
the
to find it.
what was the warrant out of Antwerp County?
It's for for missing that via Zoom.
Okay,
We're the 13th Circuit, but it's an Antrim County warrant.
got it. And my apologies here. And
Courtney, you're making me laugh.
okay. And during that time, you'd agree that the child was with Miss Kent during the majority of the time where you were incarcerated, correct?
Well, from May 25th until July something.
Okay, and during that time, there were never any reported incidents that would pertaining to the child's safety in Miss Kent's care, correct?
Not that I know am ever aware of yet.
Okay, and I'm sure that was, as a concerned father, I'm sure you were happy about that, correct?
Well, absolutely.
Okay, and is it, were you surprised, I guess, was that, in fact, there hasn't, this case has been active for a few years now, and there's been never any reported incidents of concern about the child's safety while in Miss Kent's care since this parenting time schedule was agreed to, correct?
Yeah, because you had to have a supervisor. First is a state worker that supervises the visit.
Right, but I understand that, but there's been no concerning incidents that would affect the child's safety during these visits, correct?
Just when he had his eyeballs split open when she was chasing him around inside McDonald's.
Okay. And you'd agree that my client's a good mother, correct?
I know I cannot agree to that.
Okay.
I mean, when she had to leave his home and everything, the boy was like 3 months old.
What? Okay, and you kicked her out of the home, correct?
No, protective services made her leave, or they're going to take the baby.
Okay. And again, you have currently you are there were several instances with last year where the child had very poor attendance, and as indicated by my client, showed up to school in the afternoon while in your care. Why was that?
It wasn't an afternoon. It was a morning. If he was tardy, that's how they marked it. And once I had COVID, so and he's exposed to he couldn't go for like 14 or whatever the hospital said, 14 or 21 days because he was exposed to COVID too.
Okay. And there are several, if the court issues an order awarding my client to be the primary custodial parent, would you comply with that order?
Well, I guess I'd have to, if the court ordered it. I was trying to work with her and, and like I was gonna say, after this went on and she got better with him and he was more comfortable and everything with her. And as we talked about it before, down the road here, in the summertime and stuff, maybe that's what she could do, is have an overnight visit here and there, and see how things went and slowly progress from there. And that's how it was all supposed to have been.
Okay, and
because she just texted me back in like April that they might be going back to work, but it'd be here and somewhere in Michigan. But her mom said that she would be able to go ahead and watch the baby. But it'd be somewhere here in Michigan. What she texted me.
Okay, and you have no concern about the child's care while in the care of my client's mother?
Not as far as him being hurt. No.
Okay, and no concerns of child's care when with my client, correct?
As long as supervised.
Okay, and you again, you just testified to 2 separate instances within less than a year where the child was arrested, where you were arrested in front of the child. It would make sense that perhaps you had supervised visits as well, correct?
Excuse me?
It makes sense that you have supervised visits as well, correct?
Did I have supervised visits?
Yes.
No, I don't have supervised visits.
Okay, but it's true that you testified to 2 incidences where you were arrested while the child was present and within a year, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it wasn't within a year, don't seem like it was. It could have been.
Okay, and
when did Ellie die? It seemed like a couple of years span in between. Anyways, yes.
okay. You'd agree that well, strike that. If I may just have 1 moment.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Whatever, dude. You are the least organized fucking lawyer with the craziest opponent. What if you were up against a different lawyer, dude? What would you be doing? Does he have a legal assistant there who's like, boss? He does. Let's talk to somebody.
Okay, so if in terms of you indicated that he was late all those days because you had COVID, correct?
No, not all days. No.
You mentioned COVID.
Yep. I had COVID there, and yep, I don't know if it's 14 or 21 days, but
So
then other times he'd want to eat at the house instead of at school because they feed him at the school also, and then they got to be in the classroom at 8:15, and a lot of mornings I had him dressed and all ready to go, and he'd want to end up having something else at the house, so I'd sit there and feed him and take him out of school, and within 3 to 4 minutes, they already did the roll call in the classroom. So then he'd be tardy, and actually, not absent, but he'd be tardy.
Okay, and how does he get to school?
I drive him every day.
Okay, and
he's drove and he's picked up every day.
Okay, and what kind of religious or moral upbringing do you provide or plan to provide for Daniel?
Oh, we go to church and stuff. I mean, not every Sunday, but we go to church and different things like that. And, you know,
Okay.
I read books to him. You know, I try reading the Bible to him. I know he don't understand it, but you know, I'm always reading books and things like that to him and whatnot. No, we talk about the Lord.
Okay.
And, yeah, absolutely. And he's, you know, he's real curious about that kind of stuff.
Okay. And when was the um um do you have any other pending legal matters, criminal matters at this time?
No,
Okay.
Good night, Courtney. Have a good sleep. We'll see you tomorrow. For we got a case. And whatever the rest of the day brings, it's Friday tomorrow.
Um, you indicated that you were arrested, and I'm jumping around a little bit, but you were arrested because they saw pill bottles in your car.
Yep.
If they were, I assume they weren't prescribed to you. Is that why?
no, absolutely, 100% prescribed right to me.
Okay. Were they in a pill bottle that didn't have your name on it?
No, they have my name right on it.
Okay.
But he said you're not allowed to drive under, you know, like my methamphetamine for my narcolepsy. And he said you cannot drive while under these medications. I tried telling him, it says right on the bottle, you know, just use care or caution when operating a vessel, machinery, or, you know, a vehicle.
Okay, but did he witness you driving?
No, I was alongside the road, let my son go to the bathroom. I got him out to go to the bathroom. I got him in the car seat and went around the side to the edge of the wood, went to the bathroom, put him back in the car. And that's when the cop was going by and turned around and come back and I put him in the car seat. And, yeah.
Okay, but okay, but he arrested you and they took your son to somewhere to.
I waited right there until I had somebody come and pick him right up. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
I have no further questions at this time.
Okay, Mr. Bishaw, so this will be what we'll call redirect. It's if you want to say something more that you don't feel like you got to answer fully. This is your opportunity if you'd like.
All right.
Anything else that you can think of you'd like to say?
Boy, my mind just no, not at this moment. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
No, you don't have to apologize. That's okay. Then the final question I have for you is, do you have any further witnesses or exhibits? Mr. Bishaw, I'm sorry. Specifically. No. Okay, thank you. So, defendant rests. Any closing arguments?
I'd like to say a little bit.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll hear from Mr. Perlman.
All right.
If he would like to, I think.
Yes. Your Honor, again, this initial order was put into place, as the court is aware, in 2020 or in 2019. Again, here we are 4 years later, and whatever the circumstances were, there certainly has been a change of circumstances. We've heard multiple witnesses testify, attributing to my client's ability to care for the child, the relationship between her and the child, her character as it pertains to parenting, and how she is fully devoted and able to be a full-time mother, and I would submit that again, there's
Who the fuck is that? Is that Candy? Who is this lady? Lady, this is the only time he's on deck, really. What are you doing? What are you doing? What the fuck is going on? And then my brain automatically goes, oh, give him a little bit of leeway because it's on Zoom. Maybe it was a long time ago. No, this is fucking today. Okay? This is today. Jesus fucking Christ.
We, we've established the, that, there's a strong bond and emotional tie.
Fun, is she back there whispering him what to say? Like, what in the fuck is going on? He is stumbling. Some people get thrown off when you come in their office when you're on screen. I get that. If somebody walked in the door right now, I would be a little thrown off. Thank you, Search for Spock. But do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you either have to be like damn nosy and like trying to make a point, or dumb as fuck as an assistant to literally it's akin to walking down in a live courtroom, the middle of the aisle, busting on through the gates and like starting to file the papers on the table, acting like you ain't there. Like, I'm sorry, what? Also, you guys, this outfit that I'm wearing is the dress that I wore to my high school graduation. Fun fact. Still fits.
Between my client and the child, that was evident from, and without objection, from testimony from Mr. Allison, and from my client's mother, and from my client herself. There's certainly a capacity and ability to show the child love, a care, and affection. We've heard about her patience and her guidance and her ability to be patient and teach, educate her kid and raise her kid in a ethical way. And we heard that the family, Miss Kent's family, is very Christian oriented, and it's a very positive environment where she is located with her mother and father, and it's a very positive environment. The child thrives when he's there. He has she has a significant support system, and as such, the child has a significant support system when with the mother. Again, this is a my client has been open about her past, and at this time and for the last several years, she is clean, and she is and there's no substance abuse issues, and it seems that the environment she's in, no one is again, people are not using or abusing any drugs or alcohol, and I think it was very refreshing for the child during this, especially in this extended period of time, to be around that. And we saw changes in his behavior, in his speech, and a lot of positive improvements that just by osmosis of being in a positive environment. My client has always been involved in the child's life, and continues to see the child on a several times a week. There's been there's certainly concerning issues about father's criminal history and drug use. Within less than a year, he was arrested twice with a child present, and drug relating to operating while under the influence of drugs that he wasn't supposed to be driving in his system. And again, another incident, and he was arrested in September. The child wasn't with him, but then again was arrested again in May of this year, and the child was with him. And we heard testimony how when they arrived at the pickup and drop-off location, that the 5-year-old child was in the front seat without a booster. Again, that's certainly against the law, and that raised red flags. And ultimately, it turned out that when there was police contact, he had a warrant, and he spent 60 days in jail, over 60 days in jail, but he spent almost 3 months in jail. And the child was with my client again for an extended period of time, and no concerns of safety. And it seemed like an overall very positive experience. My client is able to take the child to and from school, and is capable of ensuring that his homework is done, and that he's doing everything he needs to do to be successful and on the right track. Again, we've heard multiple witnesses speak to my client's integrity and her effort to just continuously be a better parent and to comply with the court's order. There's been ongoing issues with Mr. Bishaw not complying with the court's or with the parenting time order, leading us to file multiple motions to enforce and show cause, and then multiple instances where he just failed to appear, resulting in a warrant. Again, my client has never withheld any parenting time from him. When she says she's going to be there, when she either coordinates something, and when she says she's going to be there, she's there. She never leaves him hanging. She's there. She's on the ball. She's doing everything she has to do to be a good person and to be a positive person. And it's certainly in the best interest of the child in its totality, that he be with my client and my client be the primary custodial parent. Certainly, I'm not disputing that there's a bond between father and the child, but I find it very interesting that the child didn't ask about, even though obviously the shock of seeing your father arrested is going to invoke some emotions, but after that initial instance, I find it very telling that the child didn't ask about his father once. Again, my client believes that it's very important that there be co-parenting in a healthy way, and that but the most important thing is that he's in a positive, the best environment possible. Again, given, if he is the primary custodial parent, it's important that during most of the time that he's in the best environment possible. And I think we've established that that's with my client. And certainly Mr. Bishaw, under my client's proposal, would get parenting time and would continue to have that bond with his child. And and my client would ensure that that happened. But certainly we've established that it's a more positive environment, and that the child is getting has access to all the resources and elements that are needed to from a parent to thrive when with Miss Kent. So again, I would ask that the court order that the parenting time be modified and that physical custody be modified, awarding my client primary physical custody, and that she have the child during the week, during the school week, and that father have parenting time on the weekends, whether that's.
I'm gonna be honest. I think an unscientific way to tell if somebody's fucked up on drugs is how often they move their goddamn phone and camera while they're on the screen. The dad hasn't been doing it. He used to be fucked up, but you notice she can't sit fucking still. I'm not going back. I'm not going back. I'm sick of this fucking idiot. Sorry, Mr. Perlman, but your allocution is boring and not persuasive.
2 to 3 to 4 weekends a month, that's certainly something that my client would be agreeable to. She doesn't want to take him, she doesn't want to harm the relationship that he has with his child, but it's certainly the focus is the best interest of the child. And again, for the reasons stated, we're requesting my client establish primary physical custody. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bashad. Do you have any closing argument?
Yes, I'd like to make say, as far as the parenting time with Wendy, if the boy was sick the night before or something, I would let her know, be texting her, and then always offer her makeup day and this and that. And also on the Tuesdays and Thursdays, she's supposed to have her visitation that she always complained about and trying to take me for. Those are her choice, not because her mother works. She couldn't do the Tuesdays and Thursdays. I even tried getting her, told her, well, when you find somebody else, a different supervisor, that's fine, or a different day or a different time. I wouldn't try to, keep him away from her like that. But I was really trying to work with her, and I always have been. And like Mr. Perlman said there about drugs, there was no drugs. There's my own medication, and they found that out. I mean, I let them take blood and everything else. I mean, they come back, use my medication, and nowhere does it say, and I even talked to the doctor. There's no way anything says I could not drive on those. I mean, I've been on since 2009, I believe. Yep, and I'm 1 block away from the school here, and with my sister, and no problem getting him to school, picking him up. I mean, anything that might occur throughout the day where he gets sick, this and that, or I've always been there at teacher conferences for him. I mean, he's definitely in a loving home here. He's got plenty of support and all about his education, his health.
Okay. Do we think that we'll get a ruling today? What do you guys think we should? I'm on dad's side, just to tell you, even though his elocution sounds a little backcountry, it's better than the lawyers, and I think he's more genuine than the mom. I really do. I get that vibe. He was really worried about that kid's surgery getting changed around, and she sounded like she had fucked around with that. And there was a couple more things that really rubbed me the wrong way. And he really never backed away from admitting that he had issues, but was really more concerned about the kid. And it's frustrating because he doesn't even have a lawyer. You understand, if he had a lawyer, this hearing would be so different. Because he made objections that were sort of not handled really regularly. And the other lawyer got away with fucking a lot. And in reality, I think the judge is pissed off too. He sounds about as mad as I am about it. Mikey, you're up very late. Working overtime for Florida Friday. Nervous about Creed coming back. You want to impress him. I wouldn't be surprised if Crass shows up tomorrow anyways. I wouldn't be surprised. We're going to finish this hearing, and then I have a quick story to tell you guys before we call it an evening. But let's see what I'm also going to say. I don't think he's going to give a ruling. I imagine he'll say written ruling later because he's a cockblock.
And his well-being. And that's why I had that surgery scheduled for him on his mouth ring after his birthday. And that way he could have a chance to heal it before he did go to school. So he'd be better, and he'd be understood a lot easier. Because as it is, the speech therapist is, I was meeting with them in Ellsworth. Some of the words you have to plug his nose or do different things so he could build up pressures so he could pronounce them better, because the palate in his mouth ain't quite long enough since the first surgery. And there's plenty of room here. He's got his own bedroom here at my sister's house. Whereas, the Wendy's, there's like 5 people living in a 2 or 3 bedroom trailer, but he's got his own room here, his own bed. I mean, he's got every need possible.
That right there says a lot to me. He knows the exercise. He's worried about that happening. I am too, buddy. I think dad should have the kid. Calling it.
And he's got niece and nephew come over and play with him, and he's just, it's all, Matt takes him camping. I mean, just everybody, and he comes to he's just a loving, caring, wonderful boy. Even in elder school, all the teachers, every day they'd say, what kind of bond and how great it was, the hi and bye and give me kisses and have a good day, Dad, and all that. There, every day was like that. And I was there for all the parent teachers meetings, everything.
I don't want to interrupt. Anything further, sir?
No, I just want to state that's my goal, to be right here for him and do everything possible and enjoy time with him and make sure, he's in school and best education possible and the best health he can absolutely be. And Wendy, she never went to one, what is it down there, the WIC appointment. She never went to one WIC appointment, nothing ever. That down in Blair, and I had many of them. Right up until he just turned 5 years old, I had him. But yes, I was there 100% for him, and whatever needs he needed, I no matter what it takes, I get him. Even the Haberman nipples way back when he was born, I don't care if they had to be shipped from Sheboygan or Traverse City, he'd get them one way or another.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Thank you.
The court will take the matter under advisement and issue a written opinion. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I guess thank you, Judge. I mean, it actually sort of hurts me a little bit because we like to know the endings, but we can't always. Okay, we have a quick story to tell before the end of the evening. I can't, it's like backwards in the camera. Anyways, okay, so the photography guy story, and some of you may have heard this story in bits or pieces before. It really has nothing to do with the previous case, which is why I waited until the end of the stream to tell you this story. This story is a lesson in being careful what you wish for and being careful with what information you get and how you use it. So, many moons ago, I began writing in a journal, and I was actually writing in the journal, and I didn't force myself to like make it perfect, which is what prevented me sort of from writing openly before. I was just like, oh my God, I have to write a fucking book. And this journal was just like very abstract, little drawings, little things I cut out, l- things that didn't make sense to most people, snippets. Like it was very, very personally my journal. I was really enjoying writing into this journal. I had found it and it was my favorite color, and it fit in my purse really well, and I just carried it around everywhere and used it, and it was so lovely. I loved it. And then I went on a few dates with this guy who we'll call photography guy. People beware when the guy offers to take pictures of you. Be careful. Anyways, um, we went out one night, and upon morning, I had lost my journal. It was nowhere to be found. I told him about that. I told, we like phoned where we went the night before, the like taxi company, like all of those different things. No journal, no journal, no journal. And I was just like, I remember laughing to myself, and I was just like, oh my God, this would be pretty embarrassing if somebody found that journal. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's full of some pretty weird, dark, just like, just weird shit, And, and I was just like, okay, well, we'll find a new journal. This will be it. Because journaling is very good for somebody with ADHD, externalizing your memory or whatever. Anyways, later that week, he invited me on another date, and I met him at his house. I walked inside, and he said, I'm not done yet, like the bitch that he is. Uh, and I said, oh, no problem. So I sat down on the couch, and I like looked up, and I was like, that's my journal on his bookshelf. Like I could tell immediately the color. Like I just knew. I was just like, that's my journal. Like, bookshelf by the door where you would like say, oh, we found your journal. Here it is. It was like tucked under other books. And nobody had mentioned they found my journal. So I fucking took the journal, I put it in my purse, and I was just like, oh, I'm going to have to think about how to deal with this. So we went out on the date. It was very quick. I ended it very quickly. And then at the very end, I confronted him about taking the journal. And I was thinking back over the last week or so since I had lost the journal, and I realized, he had read it, he had gone through, and he sort of had used some of the information in a clumsy way. Like, let's say I was like a little surprised at some of the things he sort of like picked up on or whatever, but I didn't understand. I would never have guessed that he would have stolen my journal to get a leg up on that. So it never came across my mind. So I said to him, I was like, listen, that's fucked up. Like, why would you do that? And he was just like, oh, he denied doing it for that reason. And so there's two things that happened. I left. I was like, I'm not even going to talk to you. I'm going to leave now. I'm done. I left. And then we continued by text message talking later. The next day, he bought me a different journal, shitty journal, that had a lock on it. And I remember I literally said to him, I was like, oh, see, That's for children and people that have partners that are untrustworthy, I guess. Like, I'm an adult, so I don't lock up my journal. I literally will never write in this. All it tells me is that you can't be trusted. Weird. So here's the sort of piece de resistance, right? This guy who I had been seeing for a little while, quite obviously very full of himself, and wanted to read about my thoughts on him. And I'm very happy to say that he had to read every single page and probably got to the end and realized not a single word was written about him. Not a word. Oh, I wrote about other people. It's not that I didn't write. It's that I didn't write about him. Oh, how much that must have stung. You know, like being a little freak, stealing somebody's journal, like, oh, I'm going to read what she thinks all about me. And then sitting there frantically page to page, realizing, holy fuck, she didn't even mention me at all one bit. And let me tell you the story about this guy. This guy claimed to be a tantric sex god who could come on command, which he could, but it was very weird and annoying. I was just like, cool. Like, didn't even make it into my journal. That's how cool that was to me. Anyway, so that's the lesson. And subsequently, unfortunately, I have not yet found a journal that I love that fits all my needs. He ruined that first journal for me. He ruined a lot of those things. I thought it was hilarious. I also wrote in that journal my own missing persons ad. Creepy. I was watching a lot of true crime at the time. I was just like, what would my missing persons ad see? And it was fucking, yeah. So imagine just like, and maybe he thought he dodged a bullet. I don't know. That's enough. That's one good story for tonight. Remind me another night we'll talk about when I worked at Lost and Found for the bus company. Oh my God. The things we found on the buses, ladies and gentlemen, and the things that people called about. Oh my gosh. Anyways, you guys, I love you very much. It's been almost 4 hours. I've had such a great evening with you. Tomorrow is Friday. The countdown is on for Florida for me. The countdown is on for us getting to 500, then 1,000. I don't know what the rules are anymore. But I appreciate all of you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you all for your support. Remember, I'm proud of you. I love you. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye. Also, if any of you guys want to write your missing persons ads, we should put a spot in the Discord for that. Bye.